Hello and welcome to this psychic reading. Today we're going to be taking a look at your next significant relationship, so the next big relationship that you're going to be involved in. Now this could be with somebody that you already know, already have your eye on, or have just started dating, or it could be somebody that you don't know at all, have never met as yet, or only perhaps know from a distance. So we've got 4 packs of cards to choose from here for our reading. On pack 1, we have this red tiger's eye, which you can't see how well it sparkles in this light, which is a shame because it's an absolutely gorgeous crystal. Pile 2, we have Ametrine crystal. Again, it's very hard to see, but half is yellow and half is this side is yellow citrine and this side is purple amethyst. So that's Ametrine. It's kind of a mixture of 2 stones. This one is red wine quartz, which is quite fun. It's quite deep, very interesting looking crystal. And then for pile 4, we have this lovely little piece of rose quartz. This is very tactile, this one. You just want to rub your thumb on it. It's lovely. So, take a moment to gaze at the piles of cards, see which one you feel drawn to. Then you can tap or click on the timestamp in the description below and watch your reading. So, hello pile 1, you have picked the red tiger's eye crystal, which we're going to pop over here. The pack that you've chosen is the Psychic Tarot for the Heart by John Holland, and we're just going to pop that over there for a moment, and we'll start out by looking at your oracle card. So we're going to begin here with the animal oracle. So we have the skunk spirit on 54.9, know your worth. The fox spirit on 27.9, that's another 9, that's interesting. Think on your feet. And we have 67, wolf spirit, turn knowledge into wisdom. So that's a 67.13.4. So there's definitely some transformational energy coming in here. It feels to me like you're going to be bringing a lot of wisdom into your next relationship. Your next significant other, I think, will challenge you, I think, on a mental, I want to say on a psychic level as well. I feel this could be somebody very intuitive coming into your life. I want to say as well, I think it's very important that you do know your worth with this person. I think it's important for you to show that you are aware of how valuable you are as well. There may be a little bit of a power struggle. You may need to stand up to them. And I feel you will be pulling a lot on things that you've learned in past relationships in this new relationship that you'll be moving into. It's a very, very interesting energy. It's kind of a bit of a trickster energy. So for some people, this could be someone who you might have to be a bit clever actually to, I was going to say tie them down. That's not quite how I mean it. But it could be at the beginning of the relationship in particular, you might have to outsmart them a little bit. It feels like they could be a little bit manipulative, so there kind of is this energy of, and that can be fun, trying to outsmart each other, that can be really fun. But it does feel like they may not be completely honest with you at the beginning of the relationship. And I think for this one to work, it will be quite important for you to be able to stand up for yourself and also be very quick-witted at the beginning of this relationship. But I think that's something that you're quite capable of. And I feel like you've done a lot of healing on yourself, or you're somebody that already has a good level of self-confidence. If not, then carry on working on your solar plexus chakra, because look how the skunk is sat on this cute little yellow flower here. It is going to be all about the solar plexus chakra at the beginning of this relationship. So maybe that's why I put a very big solar plexus chakra crystal over here. It's much bigger than all of the other ones I've got out for the chakras. It's kind of the biggest of the lot. This giant great chunk of citrine I've got. And with citrine, there could be a connection here as well with pile 2, because their crystal was ametrine, which is half citrine and half amethyst. So there could be some messages for you in that one as well, although it is going to be different, of course. So wolf and fox, I feel like this next person, this next relationship is really going to push you out of your comfort zone, really going to challenge you to grow as a person, to be all that you can be. You will not be able to sit back on your laurels, I want to say, in this relationship. It might be quite difficult to keep up with them at first, or it could be the other way around. Remember, this is a group reading, so what I'm seeing for one person may actually apply to the other one for some of you. It could be the other way around. So do remember that, and remember, because this is a group reading, take what makes sense for you and leave what doesn't. So let's bring in some more cards. We're going to bring in the Quantum Oracle now. Let's bring in, we have playing it safe, taking steps, and back and forth. Yeah, I really feel like you can't play it safe with this person. They may even be a little bit intimidating when you first meet them. You might kind of be a bit like, I'm not sure if I want to be with this person. You know, we're kind of moving forwards. It feels like a cha-cha because we're taking 2 steps forwards and 1 step back, 2 steps forwards and 1 step back. There could be a bit of a to and fro at the beginning of this relationship. I think it could be one of those ones where you're not quite sure or they're not quite sure. And one of you might actually be engaging in playing some games, which isn't very helpful. But again, it's this trickster energy of wolf and fox. It can get a bit tricky. It can be like trying to outfox each other, which is silly. And it could be that simply that one of you is trying to pull on information that you've learned. You know, some men learn pickup artistry, don't they? And, you know, I have a friend who told me that a lot of the guys that do that, they're just very lonely and they're just looking for love. They're not looking to manipulate women, but unfortunately they can end up doing that, which isn't necessarily helpful. It might be you being a little bit manipulative, trying to play it cool at the beginning. I want to say that's not the best dynamic. Okay, it's a difficult, tricky dynamic to start with, but it does turn into a significant relationship. So there may be a better way to play it. You know, if you notice this gamesmanship, I want to say nip it in the bud quite quickly. You know, call it out. I think that is important. Call out any bullshit at the beginning. Use your wisdom, come from your wisdom, and you can actually help to change that dynamic quite quickly. And I think they will appreciate you for that as well, for actually seeing what's going on, having the intelligence as well to really see what's happening. I think that's something that can actually help you in this relationship. So, okay. Right, let's bring in the Nature Speak Oracle. So we have Rowan, Control and Discern. Yeah, there we go. Carnation, Follow Your Passion. And Daffodil, Trust in Your Power. So this could be somebody who has a bit of a reputation, I want to say. For some of you, this new person could be someone with a bit of a reputation, you know, for having very short-term relationships or for manipulating people. You know, they could be known for all the wrong reasons. But it does feel like you would be the right person for them. Because the daffodil is saying trust in your power. Again, daffodil is this yellow trumpet. It's the solar plexus chakra. So make sure you're working on that. Make sure you're taking care of that chakra, doing any healing to do with self-worth that you need to do at this point to get ready for this relationship. Because there's a lot of passion here, and it says follow your passion. You know, you'll still be drawn to this person even if you've heard things about them, even if you're aware, even, you know, that maybe they've messed around in the past. They've done some things that maybe they're not proud of, because they do have this tricky fox energy about them. So this is somebody that you must not let them take advantage of you, because they will not respect you if you do. Very, very important that you hold very strong boundaries with this person in the beginning, and I think you will. I think you'll be quite good at that. You will need to be quite discerning, because the reason they play around, I want to say, is because they want to be in control. So they might be a little bit insecure. There may be some issues there with insecurity, I think, and that might be why they come across as, oh, I don't really care, I don't want a relationship, I'll just, you know, spend some time with this person, or have a fling or something, or, you know, or having one night stands left, right and centre or something, you know, just because they want to retain in control. Because very often that kind of behaviour that we consider bad behaviour, it's a way of avoiding intimacy, and people avoid intimacy because they're afraid of it. All right, it's natural for humans to want and crave intimacy. So if somebody is avoiding intimacy by sleeping around, then they're probably terrified of it. So I feel there is this fear here. So it does feel to me like you will be the one to actually provide that stable ground for them, but at the same time not letting yourself be walked over. That's really, really important. You mustn't let them walk over you, because that will set the tone for the relationship. You must be very discerning. You must stand in your power for this person to really respect you, to get the best results out of this relationship. So I'll just take a moment to remind you that relationships are not set in stone. The future is never set in stone. And this is really important to remember when we're looking at reading, especially a group reading. I mean, a group reading, you can only take the elements that apply to you, which may not be all of them. I would not expect them to be all of them to be applying to you. But nothing is set in stone. So the information I give you is based on the energy that I'm picking up at this point in time. Okay, you can change that. There may be things that you can change. You can take things in a slightly different direction. And this is the point. I mean, one of the big points to me of actually having readings is to be armed with foreknowledge, so that we can act and react in the right way, so that we are not taken advantage of, so that we can get the best out of situations that are coming up. But this does feel like a very interesting relationship, certainly somebody who will keep you on your toes. Quite fun energy here as well. It is fun, it is playful, and it is loving as well, because the carnations are this very gentle pink colour. So there is real love here, you know, but this person might kind of give you the runaround at first, or it may be a relationship that's a little bit on and off, okay? And I think it will be up to you to make sure that you get the best out of it, that this person does not run rings around you. You need to put your foot down. I think if anyone can do that and stop this, you can. If anyone can stop that pattern, you can. So let's just bring in our angel card. So lovely little angel card. Here we have breakthrough. How many beautiful heartfelt wishes have been crushed by fear? How many times has society's voice of disapproval cast a shadow on your dreams? It's time to break free of these false beliefs and realise your dreams. Allow your heart to guide you. Trust your inner guidance. The time is right. Now that is interesting, because it kind of ties in with what I was saying about this person maybe having a reputation, maybe other people not approving. I think there'll be a certain amount of disapproval for some of you for this connection. Maybe people looking down on the person, saying, oh no, they're not good enough for you, or, you know, this is the wrong kind of person. You do not want to be in a relationship with that sort of person. What are you thinking? You know, and there is disapproval, and I think that's partly why this person acts in that way. It does feel like they are very much lacking in the solar plexus chakra. I want to say the sacral chakra as well. It's all about their self-worth, how they see themselves in the world. Maybe they genuinely believe they're bad. Maybe they were told as a child that they were bad when they weren't. You know, that they could come from a history of abuse or neglect, for example. And it's not an excuse for the behaviour, but it does explain it. And it does feel like with you, things would be different. Okay, you would provide that situation where things actually can be different. So it's actually quite a nice energy, but you do have to be aware. It's almost like you're dealing with a wild animal at the beginning of the relationship that you kind of have to tame. You have to very gently and very carefully tame, draw some very strong boundaries and say, you are not going to bite me, don't you dare. So it's with the fox and the wolf, it's almost like you kind of have to tame the wild beast. But again, I think that's something you're very much capable of doing, something you're very much up for. So let's just bring in our cards now from the Psychic Tarot for the Heart. Let's see if we can get a bit more about this relationship, about this connection. Let's see maybe where you might meet them if you haven't already, or what their connection might be. Let's have a look. So it's your next long-term relationship. This is a serious, significant relationship. It doesn't have to be super long-term, but this is your next significant relationship. And I think it's important to remember that significant doesn't necessarily mean long-term. I did say long-term, those words slipped out. So I feel like there's a very good chance it could be a long-term relationship. So that's quite interesting. Because for me, some of my very significant relationships have not lasted very long at all. But they were very significant. They brought a lot of change and meaning into my life. Oh, okay, that one wants to come out. What have we got here? Shine. Ah, okay. All right. So number 19, Shine. What else do we have here? Heal on 17. Yeah. Listen, number 2. Sacral chakra. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. Number 2. Balance, number 14. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. This makes sense. Kind of ties in with the back and forth card here, the balance card showing up. That's no surprise at all. Take the lead. Change your focus. Rest and reconsider. Crown chakra. And seek. Now it's interesting because, I mean, again, there's a few nines coming out here, and we had some quite powerful 9 energy at the beginning. So I kind of want to say you're almost like a spiritual teacher, almost like a guide to this person. I feel like they are going to be looking up to you. They may not let on at the beginning, or they certainly may not say it. They may never say it to you, but they really look up to you. They really, really look up to you on a spiritual level. They consider you to be maybe too good for them, I think, and that could be one of the challenges early on in this relationship, that you know, they're not sure if they're good enough for you, and because of their behavior, they might have you feeling the other way around, like, oh, I feel like this person doesn't think I'm good enough for them. Actually, the other way around, completely the other way around. I feel like they have a lot of healing of their own to do. Certainly the sacral chakra is flagging up here, so maybe to give them a gift of an orange crystal quite early on in the relationship, if that's something you're drawn to, or feed them oranges, you know, help them to really balance that chakra, really get that under control, get any kind of urges under control as well. Because I do feel like they might be somebody who has had a lot of encounters, you know, has a lot of like one night stands, or, you know, sexual connections that maybe aren't very positive, aren't very good for them, aren't very meaningful. And again, it's trying to hide from intimacy. I think that's where they're coming from, even if they don't talk about it. And of course, that won't be the case for everybody. It's a group reading, but I feel for some people it definitely will. And I feel like you will be the person to bring balance into their life. You will be that person to help them realise that the way to actually find happiness is not to run away from intimacy, is not to run away from connection. It is to lose the fear of connection. I think that's what's coming through with the sacral chakra over here. They have a terrible fear of connection, maybe a fear of commitment as well, quite strongly. Although they do want it. They do want it. They do want commitment, but I think you may have a little bit of an uphill battle on your hands at the beginning. But I do want to say, don't give up. Because if you really want this person, look long term. You've got to stop. I want to caution you against looking at who they are exactly presenting themselves, because with this kind of tricky fox and wolf energy, they're not showing you their true face. They're showing you a face that they want you to see, because they don't want you to see kind of this little bag of nerves that they are inside. You know, this terrified little creature inside, actually absolutely terrified, a little mouse pretending to be a fox, pretending to be the big bad wolf, and they are not. I do feel as well, it's quite interesting, like you may actually be the one taking the lead in many respects in the relationship. I think you will kind of need to assert yourself quite early on. And I think because of that, it feels like they will kind of fall into line, because you have this very commanding energy over them, even if you're a very gentle person. I feel you're a very intuitive person. I think it's your intuition that's really going to give you the edge, really going to give you, I don't want to say the upper hand, because it's, you know, relationship shouldn't be a power struggle, but I think you can prevent the power struggle by having that kind of psychic insight into the other person's heart, into their head, almost like you can tell what they're thinking. It might be a little bit spooky sometimes. They might even comment on it, like, how do you know what I'm thinking? Because there is this psychic connection, maybe a little bit telepathic there as well. You may literally be able to hear their thoughts. They may be showing up in your dreams. You may be getting a tip off as to what their behaviour is, you know, or how they truly feel, because they're showing up in dreams here, in very powerful dream time. So it does look to me like you would literally be a beacon of light to leading them forwards. You are this shining angel that they look to, who shows them how to live their life better, because I've just uncovered the words follow your passion. And I think they would follow you. It feels like you're very much the leader in this next relationship, in a very beautiful, loving and gentle way, you know, not forcing them to do things a certain way. You know, this isn't shotgun wedding situation. It's not like that, nor would I encourage that. No honey traps, please, ladies. But it is a very powerful connection, and I think as well, you will bring a huge opportunity for them to heal many of the hurts, for them to heal their heart, to let go of anything that's been holding them back. They may have struggled with, I don't know, addictions. It could be quite minor, it might just be smoking cigarettes or something, but they could have, or sex addiction or something, you know, they may have struggled with something like that in the past, just as a coping mechanism. But when you show up, all of a sudden everything changes. It feels like you get them back on track in their lives, and I feel because of that there is a huge amount of loyalty coming from this person to you. And I think on the this has a good long-term potential because of that, because you provide the stable ground for them. That's really what I see here. So let's bring in a few more cards. Okay, and tell us more about this connection, about this person. Okay. Ah, yeah. Beautiful. Wow. You two can really go far together. This is really nice. Really nice. Okay. So what I was saying with Master on coming in on 15-6, in a traditional tarot deck, that's the Devil. Okay, which is not the best card to see, but it's not the end of the world. And it could be somebody who was kind of allowing themselves to be ruled by their senses. Maybe you come in and they find spirituality or they find religion or something, you know, and they change their ways. But I think you would be the beacon of hope, the beacon of light that helps them to move forwards into partnership. Because I think up until now they've avoided partnership. I feel they've avoided any real connections, any real relationships. It feels in some way like they were a slave to their desires in some respect. And again, I think that was avoiding intimacy. I think that could have been avoidance, or they could be somebody in their past that really hurt them, which could be the mother, you know, that could be a mother figure that really, really hurt them. And they felt like they didn't want to get involved. They didn't want to make their heart vulnerable to anybody. So it's really like locked off here in a little cage. No, I'm not letting anyone get to me. I am the master of my heart. Nobody can make me love them. Nobody can make me open up to them. And I think that's where they're coming from here with 15-6, 6 of course being the number of the heart in numerology, the sacred chalice. And I think you really come in to challenge that, to show them that they can be stronger together with somebody, that it's not all about being on their own. Because I think in some ways they're very much a loner, this person. They don't like to be helped. There's a lot of pride that comes through here as well. There's a lot of autonomy. I think they could be someone who's very charismatic or very successful in work as well. They might be a salesman, something like that, or a lawyer, somewhere where you need to have very quick wits, be very clever. And I think other people may look at them and think, wow, their life is great, but actually they're deeply unhappy before they meet you. I think there's a real huge chunk of them that's missing. And I think that's you kind of come in to be that missing piece for them, which is absolutely beautiful. And the connection here coming together is really beautiful. I think it may come in a little bit slowly at first, and I think that will be because of you holding your boundaries, but it's very, very beautiful. It's like you knock them for 6, you know, like they're really not expecting the connection. So they go into their old habits, they start playing their games, you know, and you just won't have it. And you're like, no, it's not how this is going to happen. Okay, I want this from a relationship or I'm out, you know. And I think it's, you know, that there may come a time when you literally have to make some sort of ultimatum, you know, in a good way, not in a toxic way. But I think they will kind of fall into line with that. But you bring so much balance to their life with these 2s. You bring so much balance in and so much emotion, making them actually acknowledge the emotions and realise how important and positive emotions can be too. So in some ways, is this, look at how this flows here. I want to talk about the flow. This light just flows from that card into that one. It's beautiful. So it flows from coming together to having this beautiful, loving connection, which is almost idealistic in a way. I do want to say this person may well have some mother issues, may have been hurt by their mother or a mother figure. They may have been neglected. They may not have had a mother, you know, their mother may not have been. They may have died when they were young, which isn't the mother's fault, you know. And this isn't about blame. It is purely about, you know, looking objectively, energetically at what you might be dealing with here. Or it could be something from a past life that they've pulled through, or they may have had a previous relationship with someone who was considerably older than them, who was a woman. Or someone with a female energy, you know, not necessarily a straight relationship that we're talking about here, is it? But there is that hurt, I think, and it feels like you may be coming in to really repair that for them, really coming in to heal that for them. Yeah, And it kind of like opens up this whole new world. It's like your connection, your relationship opens up this whole new world. Like they feel like they're on top of the world, like they can achieve anything, like they're 7 feet tall when they're with you. And that's very beautiful. I feel as well there is a potential here for travel, for relocation, possibly even to another country for you with this person, with this next relationship. I feel there could be a possibility of relocation. It could be that one of you actually comes from another another country, or from another region of the world. I nearly said another relationship then. So they may actually be involved with someone when you get together. But I feel that relationship feels very rocky, feels very not serious. I want to say, what's the opposite of serious? A very informal relationship if they are with somebody when you do get together. Because this is very detached energy that comes... yeah, they're coming from this very detached and fearful place. But again, you come in with the wisdom to show that their fears really are unfounded, and that they can love, and it is safe for them to love. And that's kind of what you'll be teaching them, even if it's a long distance relationship to start with, which I feel it may be for some of you. There may be this real distance, but that might actually help. That might actually be a really good thing with this person, to have a long distance relationship to start with, so that you can start off on the right foot, and any physical stuff is completely off the table because you're just not there. So it's just not possible for it to be physical, or physical too soon, because you're literally not in their physical presence. You couldn't if you wanted to, which is helpful again for holding boundaries. So trust 0, manifest 1, dreams coming true 9. Wow, you really are their dream person. This relationship, although the beginnings may be quite rocky, may be quite challenging for some of you. And again, like I said, the person I'm describing here, this could be you, not them. I could have it the other way around. It doesn't matter, because this is a group reading. The person I've just described could actually be you, not them. I feel it is going to be them for most of you, but for some of you, that's the roles are going to be reversed here. So just bear that in mind. Wow. It does feel very much like the universe is bringing this relationship in as a huge opportunity for growth and healing for both of you, and actually to achieve what you want together, to manifest what you want together, and dreams coming true. It does feel like you've asked for what you wanted, and even if it doesn't look quite right at the beginning, it does feel like this person is coming in for all the right reasons for you, because it does feel like you're somebody that maybe works with the law of attraction. Maybe you have asked your angels, you've prayed for a specific relationship, for the things that you want. I think you can have them with this relationship. I think the things that you want, you can have with this person, even if the beginning seems a little bit strange, like you've got a little bit of an uphill battle to start with, or a bit of a fight on your hands to start with. You can have them. So the trust card comes through very strongly for me here but I feel you will have that blind faith anyway, because of your own spiritual beliefs, because you will intuitively know that this is the right person for you, and that you can work through any issues, any problems here. So that really is quite reassuring. That really is quite nice. And certainly that's not always how it goes with this kind of difficult relationship. But I do feel there is a very good potential here. As long as you stand up for yourself, as long as you hold your boundaries, do not allow yourself to be a doormat, do not allow yourself to be walked over. Set those boundaries very early on. Start as you mean to continue. Whether you're male or female, doesn't matter. Whether it's a gay, straight relationship, makes no difference. Start as you mean to continue. Incredibly important words. So let's just see what else we've got here. We have throat chakra. So yeah, communication and dedicated effort. Yeah. So to make this one work, which I think you have a really good potential for, because this is your next significant relationship, not necessarily a long term, but I think this has long term potential, because we've got this wonderful number 8 here with dedicated effort and throat chakra as well, which is all about communication. And I think eventually, or ultimately, you could find yourself in a situation where you're both really good at communicating with each other, even if you're not at first. But like I said, I think there could be a lot of communication to start with. It could be written communication. It may be that you're talking to each other online or through social media or something like that, especially if it starts out long distance, especially if it starts out being a relationship where you're literally not in each other's presence, in each other's energy, so you're having to communicate a lot. That's me typing on the computer or on your phone. Sorry, I talk with my hands. I used to live in France. Yeah, so it looks to me like there is a good potential for really good communication here, very positive communication. I feel this is somebody who will feel safe to open up to you, very safe to open up to you, and I think they won't have been able to do that with many other people. So there is a good communication potential here on the longer term as well, and I do feel there is a very good potential for this to go further, to go to marriage or whatever it is that you want, because this wonderful card, dedicated effort, comes in on a very strong number 8, which is all about longevity, but also about prosperity together as well. So this does look good, as I think as long as you keep talking, as long as you keep communicating, don't keep anything bottled up with this person, okay? Because they're not a mind reader. It feels like you are, but they're not. It feels like one party in this relationship is really intuitive and the other one's kind of thick as 2 short planks when it comes to that stuff. And I don't mean that in a horrible way. But they're just not intuitive at all. They may learn to be over time, but it does feel like it's a little bit uneven, and I think that's why this person looks up to you so much, because you kind of like this spiritual goddess to them. You know, it's a rather wonderful connection, a very, very special relationship that we're looking at here. So I'm just going to bring in some little spirit message oracle cards here, see what else there is to add any advice here for you. Okay. Timescale is very difficult to say for a group reading. This one doesn't feel that far away. I would say possibly 6 months, but obviously this is a group reading, so it could be very, very difficult. Different, excuse me. It's very difficult to predict. I'm kind of in a 6-month area here, so just bear that one in mind, but don't hang your hat on it. Okay, so what have we got here? Let's get some advice. Learn to rest, not to quit. Now that's interesting, because we've got the rest and reconsider card here. Yes. So I want to say with this relationship, don't let it go too quickly. And this is what I was saying about holding boundaries with the other person, because they might want to get physical very quickly. Obviously, if it's long distance, you can't do that. That's ridiculously difficult, you know, unless you're literally going to jump on a plane or something, which is not recommended. You know, make them earn it. You are loved. Yeah, it feels nice, like you would be able to have breaks from the relationship, you know, getting to know each other, chatting online, and then maybe having some time apart, and time to think about things, time to let the dust settle, so to speak. It's nice. You are loved. Yeah, I feel like this person will really love you. Really, really love you, and because of the transformation you bring to their life on 37-10-1, you're like this amazing wise person that comes into their life, shows them a whole new way of being, because we've got 37. 7 is the mystic, 3 is the blueprint. It's almost like you come in with this new mystical blueprint and show them a whole new way of living, and they're like, wow. Wow, this is amazing, you know. Spirit is on the line, answer the call. Oh, wonderful. Okay, 35-8. So this is interesting. So this says to me that this is kind of fated, that this person that you're going to meet, this person that who will be a significant other to you for however long, it is fated. It is that your spirit guides are really going to step in and sort of nudge you in the direction of this person. I think it kind of needs to happen. You know, you can say no when this person shows up. You might decide, oh, I can't be bothered. Spirit brings something better. You know, that's your choice entirely. But I think if you're prepared to put the work in, this relationship can be absolutely wonderful. But it's not easy to start with. Definitely not easy to start with. But they love you so much. So much, to the point where I'm going to go straight to the romance oracle here, because just the loving feeling is so powerful here. So powerful. Right. Okay, they certainly weren't let on in the beginning days, but they will love you so much. Well-being comes first. Yeah, you do not let this person run you ragged, make you exhausted. Moving forwards together. Yeah, I mean, personal growth and growth together as well. Very much spiritual growth, well-being. You know, you may both have an interest in physical health. You may both be interested, or in time both be interested in, you know, working out. You might both work in a gym, you might be personal trainers, I don't know. But it does feel like your well-being becomes a focus of the relationship. You know, your combined well-being. You both look after yourselves, you both look after each other. Maybe you're both interested in diet or fitness or spiritual well-being, yoga, you know, tai chi, whatever it is. But there's a real viability about this relationship. It feels very, very steady, very viable, just a little bit further down the road after the beginning. candy girl. Once you get past the unrealistic expectations, once you get those energies balanced, it does feel like you would still have to have a steadying energy for this person, because they might struggle with their mental health a little bit. They might be a little bit unstable and unsteady sometimes. And, you know, no shade here, because, you know, lots of us struggle with our mental health. That's a thing that lots of us have to work on, and it's a continuous progress throughout our whole life. You don't just have a few counselling sessions and boom, you're healed. Oh, look, I'm healed from all my childhood trauma. Aha, in 8 sessions. You know, it's ludicrous. It doesn't happen like that. Couldn't if we wanted it to, and believe me, I'd love that to be the case, but it is not. Okay, let's see how they feel about you. See if we can get some answers there. Venus Aphrodite. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. So, male or female, they're going to see you as god or goddess. Okay. Wow. Venus Aphrodite energy coming in. So I also want to bring in the masculine. I want to bring in the god of love as well, Eros. Wow, Cupid Eros energy I want to bring in as well. So, you know, if you're a man watching this. So, ooh, that's some powerful connection right there. And I want to say, yeah, long distance relationship. Yeah, I feel for a lot of people this is going to start out, or at some crucial point quite at the beginning, be a long distance relationship. So it may be that you meet in person, but they don't live in your town, they were just there for the holidays or something. But it comes in on 5611, so 5611-2. Yeah, comes in with a potential for wisdom, for actually doing it right. And I think that will actually be an asset. If this is a long distance relationship at the beginning, that will be very helpful. That will actually be an asset. Okay. What else have we got here from the romance oracle? What else do you want to tell us about this connection? What do they need to know? What does Pile 1 need to know? Soulmate, soul contract. Okay, no surprises there. Work together for each other. Oh, that's beautiful. That makes sense, actually. So this does look to be a soulmate relationship. It does. This is a significant relationship. Whether it turns into a long-term thing or not, I think will depend on how much you and they are prepared to work on it, because it will require work. I feel like you can do it, and I feel they will if you will. I feel it kind of hinges on you. But work together for each other. That's lovely. 48. So 48, 12, 3. So there is a real possibility to really build something. I mean, you could become like a bit of a power couple. There's kind of some power couple energy here, because it's really fated. I mean, 48 is karmic. You know, you're coming together because you have a soul contract. 48 in esoteric numerology is completion of karmic contract, and we've got soul contract here. This is a soul contract relationship. You know, you will come together because you have to, right? You've already agreed to do that. You've already agreed to meet and have a potential relationship. You know, you haven't necessarily agreed how it will work out. You know, before we're born with our soulmates, we've already decided certain things, certain people will cross our path at some point. We do have free will, so we can decide what we want to do with that, you know, whether we want to take that relationship forwards or not. But it does feel like this is a very, very fated connection. Very fated. And I want to say fated in both ways, both spellings as well. Fated as in fate, but also fated as in, you know, the happy party kind of fate, as in a celebration. So it does feel like that this can become a really beautiful celebration of life together, a really beautiful spiritual celebration, because you really complete each other. You're very different people, but you come together to complete each other, and you can build together, because we've got 22, 4, the feet of the goddess. You can build together, you can grow together, you can work together for each other. I feel you could actually end up working together, running a business together, you know, or moving to another country to both, I don't know, run a yoga retreat together. Who knows? Whatever. It doesn't have to be that. Obviously, it can be whatever you're into, but I can totally see that for you, because although it may be a bit of a rocky beginning, wow, once you're together, once you're both committed to working on it, nothing can pull you apart. It's so powerful. It's such a powerful connection. Very, very strong soulmate connection. So very, very interesting potential here. That's what I see. So even if it's difficult at the beginning, I want to say don't give up. Hold your boundaries, but I want to say don't give up if you get that vibe of this person. you know, you're interested, regardless of what their reputation might be. I think you can turn it into something really beautiful. And this is somebody very, very significant who's going to be coming into your life for very, very good reason. I think as well, they will teach you as much as you teach them. It feels like you're going to take on the spiritual teacher role, or maybe the emotional teacher, teach them about relationships and emotions. And in many ways, they will teach you things as well. Because in any student-teacher relationship, the student is always a teacher in some aspects as well. The teacher learns from the student. So for some of you, this could be twin flame energy as well. I do say don't get too caught up in twin flame energy, because we don't totally understand how that works at 3D level, at the level we are at now in this lifetime, in this reality. Okay, we don't totally understand it, or what it means, or how many twin flames you might have, or different aspects of twin flame energy, or if your twin flame's even incarnated on Earth at the same time as you. You know, people get really het up on it and go, oh well, you know, this isn't the best relationship, it's only a soulmate, not my twin flame. No, none of that attitude. I would just caution against that to anybody. I tell people off if they start saying things like that, because that's not helpful. This is a powerful soulmate relationship, very much going to be coming into your life for a very important reason. And there's a very, very beautiful potential here if you want it to go on the longer term. So that's exciting. I'm excited for you, pile one. Good choice. So please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Do remember to leave me a like, and please do comment if there's something you would like to share with us all. Yeah, do feel free to watch any of my other videos as well. I will be putting up more romance videos, because I know that's something, you know, it's one of those questions that we just have so many questions about, isn't it? It's one of those things that there's always so much to know, always so much to ask. And, you know, I probably watch these videos as much as you do. Not my own, obviously. But I do watch other people's, absolutely, and it's really helpful. So if this video has helped you, please do remember to give it a like. You know, have a look at my channel and see what else resonates for you. And I will see you very soon. Take very, very good care of yourself, pile one. Bye-bye. So hello, pile two. We're going to be having a look at your next significant relationship. You have chosen the Ametrine crystal, which we will pop over here. And your tarot pack is the Angel Tarot by Radley Valentine, which we're going to put over here while we take a look at your oracle cards. So first, let's take a look at your animal oracle cards. We have number 6, Beaver Spirit, lay a solid foundation. We have 17, Crow Spirit, co-create with spirit. And we have number 30, Grasshopper Spirit, take a leap of faith. Okay, so these are some interesting cards here. So, wow. It does really feel like your next relationship, your next significant relationship, and by significant I mean important. It's not necessarily going to be long term, because one, you might not want it to be. And just because a relationship is long term doesn't mean it's particularly significant. You know, it depends on the depth of feeling, of course, and the connection that you have with somebody else. And a very significant relationship can be quite a short one. But already I am seeing a correlation with pile one's video, so if you feel drawn to that one as well, or if you were drawn to both, you might want to go and check that one out as well, because there are some connections with that here. So first of all, I'm feeling like this is going to be a very divinely guided relationship. It feels almost like it will be serendipitous how you two meet, perhaps some synchronicity at play. It does feel like you might actually be working on manifesting this relationship at the moment. You know, you may have written out a list of things that you want from the relationship, maybe a list of deal breakers that would make you walk away from a relationship. It feels like you're being very intentional, very clear right now about what it is that you actually want. And it feels like there's a very hopeful energy here as well on 17-8. There's a real hope for the future, very positive. It does feel as though you've done a lot of work on your heart. So you may have had a lot of heartache in the past, or some difficult situations that you've been through, you know, maybe past trauma that you've had to work through. And it does feel like your heart feels very stable at the moment. It feels like it's going to be ready for this new relationship when this actually comes in, the significant relationship. You will be totally ready for it, ready to build together, because that's what beavers do. They build, they're little builders. And there really is a sense of following a plan here. Just looking at the numerology, if we add all of the numbers together, we get to 53 and 53, 8. So 8 can be longevity. So this could be a long-term relationship. It could also be a very prosperous relationship. But with 53, it really feels like being divinely guided, or being guided by a plan, following whether it's a divine plan, whether it's a little bit more concrete than that. You might just be extremely practical. You might be an earth sign. You might be very clear on what it is that you actually want from your next significant relationship. But at the same time, it does feel like this is taking you a little bit out of your comfort zone with the grasshopper spirit, because he does talk about a leap of faith, and 33. So 30 reduces to 3 in numerology, and you'll notice me do that with numbers. When I say them, I'll reduce them to one digit. So 3 plus 0 is 3, so 33. Yeah, it does come in with very fortunate energy, but it is something very new. So it does feel like this relationship is going to be very new to you, either because you haven't been in a significant or important relationship before, or because it's going to be a little bit different. Maybe you're a bit nervous or anxious about actually asking for what you want. Maybe that makes you a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe you're not used to getting what you want. You're not used to things going well. That could certainly be you. Remember, this is a group reading, so some aspects will resonate for you and others, if they don't resonate, just leave them be. So let's bring in some more cards. Let's bring these ones in now. This is from the Quantum Oracle. So we have number 2, Spirit, your higher self. Number 1, Energy, courage. And number 1, People, kindred, partnership. Now this is nice. This is very nice. So it feels to me like Spirit are really working with you on this one, because you've got your higher self and co-creating the Spirit with the Crow card. So there's a very etheric, magical feel here. So it does feel very much like you working with your higher aspects of self, with your spirit guides, with your angels, with the higher realms, to actually bring this relationship into existence. So I don't think in some ways it will be a surprise to you when it shows up. I think you're waiting for it, or you will be waiting for it if you haven't done that work yet. But it does feel very much like this is taking you out of your comfort zone. Like I said, it's taking a huge amount of courage. We've got the courage card here. I mean, look at this person dressed in a full suit of armour, about to enter a dark wood, led only by these little lights here. That takes a huge leap of faith. And it does feel like this is difficult for you for some reason to move into another relationship. Maybe you had a really bad divorce, or, you've had a very difficult past when it comes to relationships. Maybe you've had very, very bad relationships. Maybe you've been very, very hurt. I want to dwell on the beaver spirit with that as well, because it comes in on number 6, which is the number of the heart. There's definitely a fear of going into relationships, and I feel like your heart has been very guarded for some time, which is very sad, but I feel like it won't need to be for much longer, because it feels like there's someone very, very special coming in. This is a kindred partnership card. This is a proper soulmate coming in. I feel like this is somebody literally coming in to look after you, to protect you, to take care of you. It doesn't matter if you're male or female, or if they're male or female. That's not relevant here. But on a soul level, they are coming in to help you to heal, to help you to grow, to help put your pieces back together again. I feel like your next significant other will be somebody who is very sure of themselves. They come in with a lot of confidence, but they're also very empathic. Very highly empathic, and that is a very good combination, being empathic and confident at the same time, because a lot of empaths are not confident whatsoever. But somehow they manage to embody both of those energies together. I feel like this person is very balanced with their masculine and feminine. Their divine masculine, divine feminine energies are very, very balanced, and we both have all of that. We all have both of those energies. It's got nothing to do with being male or female. We all embody the masculine and the feminine, and we must balance those energies within ourselves. It's absolutely crucial if we're going to be happy, live happy lives. But it does feel like this person will help you to seek new horizons. I'm very drawn to the hot air balloons on this card, which I've never really paid a lot of attention to when I've looked at this card before. But the hot air balloons are really talking to me about a possibility of new horizons, seeing things from a higher standpoint, making more sense of things. I feel like this person will be helping you to understand things from a higher standpoint, to really make sense of your past, maybe if you've had a difficult past, or if you brought through some particularly difficult karma from past lives. I think they will help you to see that. They come through with a very spiritual energy, very wise energy, whether they're aware of it or not. They may not consider themselves spiritual, but they come through with this real wise person energy, which is very powerful and very beautiful. And it does look like a very gentle and loving connection as well. It feels like your higher self, the higher aspects of self, your guides, they're really trying to take you into a very gentle relationship. The energy is so gentle, so loving. I certainly wouldn't want you to suffer. So although you have the suit of armour, I feel like you're not going to need it. You're not going to need it, and you can take it off piece by piece as you feel ready to do so. But I think that will be at your pace, and there's no need to drop all boundaries immediately, because that's just unwise. Of course, we go into relationships not knowing the other person, and it takes time to build trust, and it will take time to build trust. It may take a little bit longer for you or for one of the parties, because sometimes when I'm doing these readings, sometimes the people can be the other way around. So it might be the other person that's not trusting rather than you. So just bear that one in mind. But it does feel like it's you, pile 2, that's asking me this question, about your next relationship. It does feel like you may be a little bit guarded, and that's okay. Take your time with it. Just remember to let your guard down at some point. Okay, you are going to need to do that. You are going to need to let your guard down at some point. Okay, you can't wear the armour forever, because it chafes apart from anything else. And yes, I'm being humorous there, but literally it chafes. It gets very heavy to wear all of that stuff. And you may even suffer, I feel my back stiffening up. You may even suffer with stiffness in the back and shoulders, which can be connected to anxiety, but also being connected to feeling insecure and feeling unsafe in the world. We can end up, with our body literally armouring itself, literally tensing up as if it was trying to become concrete around us, trying to protect our heart. And that may be something that you struggle with. So let's bring in these cards. We have Storm, Resolve Conflicts, and Orchid, Sexual Energy. Wow, this is a passionate relationship. Okay, fun fact, the Latin name of orchid actually means testicles. So quite appropriate that they would put orchid with sexual energy. Storm, Resolve Conflicts. Oh, okay. So it could be that the dynamic in this relationship could be that you have these fiery arguments and then you have make-up sex. That's the most obvious interpretation of these cards to me. Not going to be the case for everybody, but certainly for some of you, it could be quite stormy, quite up and down. And I think a lot of that will be to do with you actually being very guarded, maybe being a little bit harsh on the other person, just because you have been through a lot, and again, it could be the other way around. It might be the other person doing this, not you, but I'm going with you for this, but remember, it's a group reading. So I do feel like conflicts may be resolved in the bedroom, all right, which is one way of doing it, but you do need to talk as well. You do need to make sure that you talk as well. But there could be some very interesting aspects with your Mars and Venus, or with your Mars, particularly with the planet Mars in your astrology. So I would say check that out, check out yours and theirs when you get together and see what's going on there, because there's some real fireworks here. It could be very, very interesting in the bedroom. There's very, very passionate energy coming through here. Very interesting. Yeah, it's certainly not the best way to sort out your problems, because the armour doesn't necessarily come off just because you've been to the bedroom. It doesn't make something resolved, and I just want to bring that in there. And that should be common sense. It should be obvious, but it's not to everybody. So there is a possibility here that this could be something of a high drama relationship to begin with, and I think that could be partly your fault, and I just want to draw your attention to that. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm not going to criticise anyone, because we do the best we can with the knowledge that we have. We do our best. Everyone does their best in life, including me. I am far from perfect, believe me. I was definitely far from perfect in relationship. Let's not go there, this isn't about me. But I do want to say, try not to be too defensive, because I think you could end up having more problems than you need to have if you're a little bit too guarded, too defensive, or too quick to judge them harshly. I want to say, try not to judge them so harshly. Try to take a step back, ask your spirit guides for help, ask somebody objective for help if you have a trusted friend or family member who isn't going to be too biased or too reactionary. You want someone with a nice cool head to say, actually, that's a bit of a storm in a teacup. chill out. You know, you might need that voice of reason, that calm voice of reason to really sort things out. But it is a passionate energy, and it does feel like because of that passion between you, for some of you, it could literally be quite a short relationship. It could be one of these short soulmate relationships that literally comes in and it could last like, I don't know, 3 to 6 months or something. And this isn't going to be the case for everybody, so don't panic. But for some of you, it could only be like a 3 to 6 month relationship, or maybe even shorter, but it's very intense. There's a real intensity here. And soulmate relationships can be very short, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, all right? The person comes in, we have the experience we need to have with them for our soul's journey, or we learn whatever we learn and we grow, and then it's over and we don't need them anymore, okay? Or we step away from them, or they step away from us. And it can be painful, but I don't think this would have too badly a painful ending. I feel if it were to be a short-term thing, I don't think it would be too painful. I think you would still have fond memories of this person, even if it turns out to be quite a short-term thing, because you are very compatible, and I think that this person will teach you a lot, and I think you would look back fondly and think, oh yeah, you know, this person helped me to rebuild my self-esteem, or that this person made me believe good things about myself for the first time, or told me I was attractive, or, you know, whatever it is. So it's okay. I think it won't necessarily be a long-term thing, this next significant relationship. And significant relationships don't have to be long-term. They don't have to go on for a long time. You know, you can have a very short, very intense, very significant relationship. Okay, it doesn't have to be on the longer term. You can have very flat, long relationships that mean virtually nothing. You learn virtually nothing. So let's just bring in our angel card now, see what we've got here from the angels. Acceptance. There is nothing in your life to fix. Only the disowned parts of you that yearn for love and acceptance. Ah, there we go. You are beautiful just as you are. And I think this is what this relationship is going to teach you one way or another. Regardless of any faults you may perceive you have, you are an eternally radiant being of light. Accept all that you are and just be you. When you truly accept yourself, your whole world will magically and lovingly transform. Now, isn't that a beautiful message? It's all about self-acceptance for you, Pile 2. All about finding that balance within, understanding that you're okay as you are. In fact, you're not just okay, you're perfect as you are. And the thing is that a lot of us think we know this, you know, or maybe on an intellectual level we think, well, I know that, but we don't know it on a deeper level. There are other aspects of us that are very wounded, that are very frightened, for example, that don't know that. And I'm just touching my throat chakra for some reason as I say that. So I feel there could be for you something to do with the throat chakra that might need clearing. So I'm just going to bring in the turquoise crystal here. I'm just going to pop that there. I feel there could be issues with communication for you. It might be difficult for you to speak up and say how you feel, or you might not even know how you feel some of the time, which is why you can't verbalize it, which is why you can't put it into words or let somebody else know how you feel, which may be why some of your arguments could be settled in the bedroom with physical acts rather than intellectual ones, just because maybe you don't have the words for that. And that's okay, you know, we're all different. We all do things in different ways. There's nothing wrong with that necessarily. It's an interesting connection. I think it's certainly going to be a very interesting one. This is going to be a memorable relationship, I think, one way or another. And I think it will be for the right reasons, even if it doesn't turn out to be a long-term one. So let's have a look at our Angel Tarot cards now and get a little bit more information about this person, about the dynamics here that we're looking at. So, your next significant relationship. What do we need to know? All right. Oops. Okay. 5 Unity, Archangel Sandalphon. 8 Justice. Ah, yeah. 14 Balance. 15 Ego. Yeah. 5 of Air. Bring in another card here. Oh, would help if we could see it. 3 of Air. Okay. Dreamer. 7 of Earth. 9 of Water. King of Water. 10 of Earth. Okay, I want to stop there for now. Right. It does feel very much like this person coming into your life is coming in a way to right some wrongs, maybe to kind of redress the balance. It feels like you may have had some very challenging, very trying relationships in the past, and it feels like this person may be coming in to kind of not exactly reward you for your patience, but just to show you that, you know, it doesn't always have to be negative. It doesn't always have to be bad. This is a good relationship coming in here. It's positive. It's helpful. This person is fair. This person will treat you fairly, I think. It does feel like financially they're going to be doing okay. I think they may even help you financially. They may help you with your work. They may help you to move things forwards in your life financially. They may be very financially supportive. So, it's a very loving and mature energy that comes in with this person. I think for a lot of you, it's going to be a man. Obviously, that may not be the case for everyone watching, you know. But there's a very masculine energy that comes in here. So this person is very much rocking the divine masculine energy, whether they're male or female. They're responsible. They're good with money. They have some of these traditionally masculine traits, you know, the positive ones that we think of here, which is very nice. And I think it will help you to feel very, very grounded, very stable. But at the same time, although this person is practical, they're also quite intuitive, I think, too. I do feel like they are, you know, they do have their dreams. There are things that they want. You know, they are optimistic, maybe a little bit idealistic, but there's definitely an optimism here. You know, they believe in the goodness of the world. They believe in synchronicity. They believe in things happening for the right reasons. They could be someone who's a bit spiritual, who's interested in the law of attraction, stuff like that. It seems to me that they would know about that sort of thing. Okay, you know, they may be somebody who studied meditation or who is interested in spiritual practice and actually brings that to the table as well, which is really nice to see. Really nice to see. Let's see. Yeah, and I think they'll be patient with you as well. I want to say they will understand your need for time. If you need time to move forwards in the relationship, they will understand not to rush things, because I think they will know that it will be worth it, which is really nice. I do want to add a little bit of caution here, though. I do want to say don't muck this person around, right? Because there could be a little bit of an on-off energy with this person at first, and that could be more down to you than them. And I don't think they'll like that very much. I don't think they'll appreciate that. I think they prefer to know where they are with somebody. And, you know, if you're very guarded, if you've had a lot of pain in the past, you'll need to let them know that so that they can make allowances for that, because they will do the work with you. It does feel like somebody who would be very supportive, who would be very loving, you know, a soulmate come in to really help and support you, no matter how long the relationship lasts. So I think it is very, very important. There's a lot of blue here as well, these lovely blue colours, blue indigo colours coming through. It's kind of takes me to the third eye chakra. So maybe there's somebody that is quite psychic. Maybe you will actually have a telepathic link there. And I mean, their life hasn't been perfect either. I do want to say that they may actually come from something of a tragic past. I want to say their past may actually be tragic, may actually be very sad, may actually be very difficult. They may have had to work through all sorts of things. You know, they may not have had the childhood that they would have liked or the family they would have liked. They may have suffered loss or bereavement very early on in life. And I think because of that, that's why they've always been like this older head on younger shoulders. I want to say they've always been sort of older beyond their years, wise beyond their years. So it's an interesting person to be involved with, certainly a very, very worthwhile person to be involved with as well. Certainly somebody who will want to do things properly, will want to do right by you, I want to say. And I think ultimately when it comes down to it, I want to say that you actually want the right things. Okay, when you're feeling okay, when you're feeling balanced, settled, calm, you actually want the right things. And I think this could be what attracts you to this person in the first place. And it could be that you actually meet online or through a dating website, I want to say, because it feels like you already know a lot about the person before you start the relationship. Like you do your due diligence, you know, you can read all about them, or I don't know. Maybe there's somebody that you have mutual friends and they're able to tell you everything about them, or, you know, yeah, or they could even be someone with a public profile where you can read their Wikipedia page, you know, for some of you, who knows. But I do feel like ultimately you do actually want the right things. You want the same things as well. You know, you both want the stability. You both want to be able to do your inner healing work. You both want to become the master of your own mind. I feel that there's a real desire for both of you here to really learn how to live in the moment, or to learn how to do it better. You know, if that's something you already work on, something you already try to do. You both want to be able to do that. There is I think, a thirst for spiritual knowledge together. The words that I'm given here, there is a thirst to overcome the human condition with this person, and that's something they would like to do with you as well. But quite a balanced relationship. This is kind of exactly the energy that you need. You know, it comes in with someone who will be a partner, not a master, not a slave, not a servant, not a, you know, a dictator, but a partner. It has real partner feel. So this could go to marriage, if that's what you want, or it could just be a long-term partnership, but it does feel like a partnership rather than like girlfriend, boyfriend, you know, energy. It does feel like somebody that you could have a long-term relationship with if that's what you chose to do. Let's bring in some more cards here. Let's see what else they've got to say about this. Something else we need to know here. Right. Okay. So we've got the wheel. 2 of water, that's nice. 5 of earth, right. 9 of fire. Okay, I am going to bring up the issue of money here, because I was saying that this person probably does quite well for themselves, and they may help you financially. And I do want to say that money may actually be a cause of concern for you. There may be some reticence at the beginning because maybe they're a lot better off than you. Maybe your socioeconomic status is really quite different. And so because of that, you know, you may shy away from them initially, even if you're interested in the relationship, or it may cause you to back away at odd moments, or to be a little bit guarded or defensive, or, you know, a bit difficult. We can be difficult sometimes, you know, I know I can. Stubborn. There's a stubborn energy that comes from you, Bile, too. And I do want to say, don't let that get in the way of the relationship, all right? It's okay to accept help from people sometimes. You don't always have to be so independent, all right? And I get it with your suit of armour on. You probably do want to be quite independent. You don't want to rely on other people, maybe because people have hurt you when you relied on them in the past, and that's understandable, but this is different now. You know, the wheel, Archangel Michael, this would be the Wheel of Fortune in a traditional tarot deck, and it's saying very much this is a different time now. This is a time of change. This is a new relationship. This is a different relationship. It's not going to go how things went before. You are a different person. They are a different person. This is a different combination of energies. And you have the protection of Archangel Michael here as well coming in. Very protective, powerful Archangel coming in here to protect you. Again, the blue colour could be his influence coming through here as well, because that is the colour of Ray that comes in with Archangel Michael. It is the colour of light that we associate with Archangel Michael. So you may notice actually blue light coming through, or blue rays of light when you meet this person, or when you this person sort of first comes on your radar. So, yeah. So it's about finding that balance between letting someone help you and not being completely helpless, because that takes time as well. You know, if we're not used to finding the happy medium, you know, we can either go one way or another sometimes, I think, and that might be something that you struggle with, part 2. Not for everyone. No, not for everyone. It's a group reading. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. But I think for some of you, you may kind of struggle with that. It might be either I do all the work or I do none of the work, and maybe it's a case of finding that happy medium where you do some, you do enough, but you don't overload yourself, but neither does the other person, you know, because it's not a parent-child relationship. It's a partnership. It's an adult partnership. You know, you're not here to be a child again, or to be a parent. And I think that may have been an issue in the past. You may have been a parentified child. You may be somebody who in the past had to take on adult roles before your time, and that can be a very difficult habit to get out of, because that's how our brains can end up wired in those situations. So I also want to say that there could be a separation early on with this one. I feel like you could have some time apart. Maybe one of you might be working away for a short time. So I feel like there could be a period of separation very early on, but not necessarily for a bad reason, you know, just because there's like a work thing, or they have to go and visit family in another country for a month or something. So it feels like there could be a little bit of distance at the beginning, but it's not a problem. I don't see that as being a major issue. So let's take a look at some little message oracle cards here. Let's see what we've got. We've got some to start with, I see. What is the truth and where does it lie? Let's see what these are. Okay. So more 30 energy. So we had 30 earlier, didn't we, with the, was it the animal oracle card up here? Yeah, there it is, with the grasshopper. So 30 energy coming in quite strongly for you. So that 30 and number 3 could be quite strong themes for you when it comes to this relationship. You may see these numbers showing up. It could be your age, it could be their age, you know, or it could be a house number that they live at. But look out for 30, because I feel like it's going to help sort of point the way for you. Number 3, number 30 will be helping to point the way. So we have Spirit is on the line, answer the call. And showed up for pile 1 as well. So I'm seeing some correlations here with pile 1. So for some of you, there's a connection there. You might want to watch the other one as well. Or it might be that one of you is the pile 1 person, one of you is the pile 2 person. Because I kind of almost feel like that. I feel like pile 2 is the person to pile 1, that pile 1 is to 2 or something. Or vice versa. In some respects. So that would be interesting anyway. So gratitude isn't about being small, it's about opening your arms wide. 17. Again, that was one of our numbers here, wasn't it? That was this one. So our little numbers are coming up again. So we've got 30, 17. What do we want next? We want 6. We might get that. Well, we got 5. Okay. So number 17, so star energy. So being seen for who you truly are, knowing what you're worth. And I think this relationship's really going to help to teach you, help to show you what you're truly worth, so that you can manifest and achieve greater things with this person than you could without them. And that's not to say that you're not capable of it without them. I think it's just the extra support that will really help you to go reach the higher heights, reach the goal that you thought you weren't able to achieve, only because you didn't have the support or the support network to actually help you to achieve that. I think this person will have the resources, both mental, maybe financial as well, or perhaps connections. They might know people in your industry that can help you to get ahead, or in an industry you're interested in going into. You know, you might be an actor, you might be an artist, you might just need an introduction to get where you want to go, you know, which is very common. Very helpful to have that introduction. It's not, you know, it's not what you know, it's who you know at the end of the day. And I think they will be able to push you so that you can take that step in the direction you want to go and really reach higher heights in your life, and actually have opportunities that maybe you thought weren't going to be possible for you. It does feel like they bring in adventure as well. They bring in but good adventure, not terrifying adventure. No, not like being dropped in a forest in the middle of the night, but exciting adventure where you pack your bag and you go off to seek your fortune kind of thing, but in the best, most positive way. This is really, really nice positive energy that I get here. And that's not to say that there won't be any problems. Of course there'll be problems. You know, we all have problems in relationships. Completely normal to argue. Be worried if you didn't. So let's bring in our Romance Oracle cards here. See what we can get here about the relationship. Is there anything they would like to add? I feel a little bit breathless, actually. I'm getting a little bit... Whew. So it might be some anxiety coming through for some of you. A little bit of hyperventilating going on with me. And that does happen to me sometimes when I read cards. Sometimes my breathing goes a bit wonky. But it may actually be relevant to this, because this is a group reading. And I'm kind of tripping over my words now, and I'm starting to feel a little bit anxiety in the body. So I feel like anxiety is something you might need to address, or, you know, you might have PTSD or mental health stuff that you may be aware of, but maybe you haven't sought all of the help and support that you could do. So if that's the case, I'm going to nudge you to just try and get some help, get the support you need. Marriage and divorce, 29. Grumble, grumble, passive aggressive. Ah, ha ha ha, here we go. Codependence, codependency. A psychic connection. Now don't freak out. These cards aren't necessarily bad. Okay. So, marriage and divorce. Yeah, this could definitely turn into a marriage. This could be a very, very serious relationship on 29/11/2. Comes in with a lot of potential, a lot of magical potential, spiritual potential, and a lot of wisdom, and a potential for a lot of wisdom, to learn a lot from this relationship, from this connection as well, and to actually explore some feelings, to explore some scenarios that maybe you haven't experienced yet in your life, or in their life, or in your romantic life. Passive aggressiveness could be a problem in this relationship. Now that could be you, or it could be them. It might be that their vice is that they're passive aggressive, because they do feel really nice and balanced. So this could be a Libra person, and Libras can be really super passive aggressive, and I speak from a place of great authority here as a Libra sun. We can be really passive aggressive. We don't necessarily even mean to do it, but this could be an air sign that you're dealing with who just isn't necessarily very good at confrontation when they're angry with you, when they're annoyed with you, because I think they would try very hard not to be annoyed with you. But again, that could be That could be an issue that you need to look at, but that could be one a little bit later on down the line. That's not necessarily, there could be somebody who bites their lip, I want to say. They might literally bite their lips. They might literally, the skin on their lips might be flaking a bit when you meet them. That could be a sign for some of you. But they might literally be somebody who bites their lip because they're trying to sort things out. They're trying to be reasonable. So just be aware of that and try and encourage them to share their feelings as well when it's necessary, when it's needed. Yeah, so codependency could be something coming up here for one or both of you to actually look at. What are your codependent tendencies? Do you have some traits here that you need to work on? Do you rely too much on other people's opinions, on other people's connection, on other people's the importance they put on you? Do you only exist when they're looking at you? And that's something that certainly people in the performing arts can struggle with. Very often people are drawn to the stage or the performing arts because they feel like they only exist when someone's looking at them, when someone approves of them, when someone acknowledges them. So there could be some work to do there for one or both of you. So again, that could be an issue that comes up in the relationship, but I think it comes up to be healed. I think it comes up to be looked at and with the potential for healing rather than being a major problem in the relationship. I think it just comes up as something to be healed. And you may have already done some work on that. It might just be some last remnants of those behaviours that are really making themselves known. So with the psychic connection card, now this is interesting, and it does indicate quite a strong soulmate bond as well. You may actually end up with almost like a telepathic connection where, you know how the other person's feeling, what they're thinking, or when they're about to pull up in the driveway. You can experience those. That's quite interesting when you have that psychic connection, and it doesn't necessarily mean that either of you is particularly aware of your psychic ability beforehand, but I feel like you could end up with a very strong connection with this person just because of the soul connection that you have, because this is an important relationship. This is coming in to help you to heal and for you to move on with your life. One way or another, I feel like this relationship will move you on in life. It will sort of push you forwards further than you would have been able to go without it. Other relationships may have held you back or, not made any difference, but it feels like this is going to be one of those relationships that sort of pushes you forwards, makes you reassess your priorities, makes you realise what it is you actually want from life. Really takes you that extra step forwards. And I think you could both be very transformational in each other's lives, both be very helpful to each other's spiritual progress as well on your spiritual path. So anxiety and fear, yeah. Completion and fulfillment, yeah, it really does feel like you can help each other to achieve a lot of goals with completion and fulfillment coming in on 66. So 66-12-3. So again, personal agency, and knowing how to use your power, right use of power, organising your life how you really want it, being completely in control of your life rather than life happening to you. That could be an outcome from this relationship. And that's not to say necessarily at the end of the relationship, it's certainly something you could learn from the relationship, but learning to come from the heart, that everything is about the heart, everything is about love at the end of the day. And I don't necessarily mean romantic love, I mean love being in the only energy that actually exists in the universe on a higher, deeper spiritual level. So with anxiety and fear, there could be some mental health stuff for you to work on or for the other person to work on here. And I think it does feel like one of those relationships where it will be safe to look at your mental health challenges or any anxieties, any fears that you have. It will be a safe place to be able to do that, I think, for both of you. And I think for that reason as well, it is going to be a very transformational, very healing relationship for both of you, particularly for you, Pile 2. I think it's you more noticeably than the other person, but I think you bring a lot to the table as well, even if you feel like you don't from all of the stuff I've said so far. This is what you bring. You bring yourself, your wonderful self. And I think you don't appreciate yourself enough at the moment. And yes, the Empress is the feminine energy. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're a woman, okay? But the other person in this was really embodying the masculine. So it does feel very much like you come together in this beautiful harmony of the divine masculine meeting and supporting the divine feminine. A really beautiful combination. Very, very interesting, I think. There would be a lot of work to do. I mean, generally there is in relationships. If it's going to be worth it, you're going to need to put the work in, and that's absolutely fine. It may not be a long-term relationship. I think that will depend on the choices that you make. But it has a very nice potential to go the distance if that's what you want. So very transformative relationship. Very, very powerful. And And look out for this person when they show up. Look up for number 30. I feel maybe showing up to actually be a marker on your path as well there. So we're going to leave it there, pile 2. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. Please do remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, if you're just a lurker at the moment and haven't got around to subscribing. It really helps. Do leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Let me know so that I can make more of them, you know, or if there's something else you would like me to make videos about, please tell me. I am here to serve. I am here to help. Yeah, so you take very, very good care of yourself, pile 2, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye. So, hello, pile 3. You've chosen the pile of cards with the red wine quartz crystal, and you have the Psychic Tarot by John Holland. I also felt the need to bring out this little crystal angel for you as well. So this little quartz angel wanted to come out to play. So there's a little angelic connection here for you. So I'm just going to pop that angel there if I can get him to stand up. This one likes to fall over. There we go. Stay. All right. So we're going to take a look at your oracle cards to start with. Let's take a look at your next significant relationship. All right, so our animal oracle cards we have number 60, Swan Spirit, time for a deep dive. 50, Rhino Spirit, overcome any obstacle. And 55, Snake Spirit, time to heal. Now this is an interesting one. I like this pile 3. Very interesting energy here. Wow, it feels to me like you're the kind of person who wants to know the outcome before you go into a relationship. And there can be lots of reasons for that. Or this could be the other person, because remember, this is a group reading, so take what makes sense for you, leave what doesn't. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. But I feel like this is you. I feel like you ought to be quite sure before you actually go into a relationship. You ought to be quite certain before you step into a relationship. And I feel like you could be an earth sign, particularly a Taurus, or you might have some Taurus in your chart here, because it does feel very strongly like you're very deliberate in relationships. And once you're in, you're in. Okay, you are somebody who commits very deeply and very, very strongly. Your energy is absolutely beautiful. It comes in with a certain amount of gravitas, and for some reason I felt a little bit tearful before reading your cards as well. So there could be some real sorrow there. There could be some grief around you at the moment for some reason, which may or may not be to do with relationships, might be something completely different. Wow, but this is some big numerology here at the top. 60, 50, 55. Whew, wow. So great wisdom. I feel like you've been there, done that. This isn't your first rodeo. So you might be an older person, or you might just be an old head on younger shoulders. Because it does feel like you have a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom. You've done a lot of things. You've learned a lot from the world. Even if you're still quite young, I feel like you have learned a lot. You've been through some stuff. And I think because of that, or maybe it's just your personality, I feel like you are somebody who works to overcome problems. You don't let them get in your way. You know, that this is, I always say with the rhino spirit, there's some real Ganesh energy that comes in here, although it's a rhino, not an elephant. But it is about overcoming obstacles. So that is Ganesh. You may have a connection to the god Ganesh. Ganesha might be quite special to you as well. But there is a real sacredness here. I feel like relationships are sacred to you. I feel like they're special to you, like they really mean something. It feels to me like you don't get into relationships lightly. You only do it when you actually intend to go the whole way, because that's the only way you know how to do it. I think like a light kind of short-term relationship or a fling would just really annoy you. You wouldn't like it. I feel that wouldn't be for you at all. It's not your preference. I mean, you may have had shorter relationships in the past. You may have had sort of casual relationships, shall we say, but it doesn't really chime with your energy, certainly not at this point in your life. So I would say that's what you're looking for. You're very slow, deliberate movement here. Also coming in with a snake spirit, time to heal. But I want to say here, it feels like you're shedding a skin. It feels like you do everything very slowly and deliberately in relationships, but it feels like it's time to shed a skin now. It's time to become a new person. It feels like there's this readiness, like you're preparing for a new relationship here. Like it's taken you a while to get here, but you're here now and you're ready to do this. You're ready for that change on 55-10-1. Very transformative numerology. And it feels like you're doing it very consciously, very deliberately, very intentionally. Yeah, like you know what you're doing. You're going to be looking for this relationship, and then it has to show up because we are looking at your next significant relationship here. But this is just the prep here is kind of all about you. So that's interesting. Let's bring in the Quantum Oracle now. So we have present power, very intentional, friends and colleagues. Oops. And we have deserving. Ah, yes. So it looks like you've actually either already done work on the solar plexus chakra, or you're currently doing work on the solar plexus chakra, and this is to do with self-worth. It is your inner sun. There is a connection here, I want to say, with Leo as well, and it could be to do with the Lion's Gate this year, which falls on 8/8. It doesn't matter which year you're watching this, it would still be the 8th of August is the Lion's Gate, or the peak of the Lion's Gate energy. There's a connection to summer there. There's a connection to healing in the summer for you as well. But there's a very powerful, very intentional energy here as you move into this new relationship. And I feel it could actually be somebody that you meet through work, because we've got the friends and colleagues card here, so it feels like somebody you meet through an acquaintance. I want to say work, but it might not be. It might be from a social group, but it is feels like somebody, a friend of a friend. Feels like you're introduced to somebody rather than you go looking for somebody and they just show up. It feels like this person is introduced to you by somebody else. And that won't be the case for everybody, because remember, it's a group reading. But I do feel that's highly likely with this energy that we're looking at here. And you may have been through a difficult divorce and, you know, really had to spend some time putting yourself back together again, and think about even if you wanted another relationship, and you've kind of reached this point now where, yes, I deserve this. It's time for me to do this. You know, you feel much more able to look on the bright side now with all these beautiful flowers kind of jumping out at me here. And I know a lot of the animal oracle cards have flowers on, but they're really jumping out at me, especially with all these gorgeous tulips. Really love them. I want to say it could be a connection to Holland or a Dutch person here as well with these tulips. I'm just drawn to say that. But it's like you can finally slow down and smell the roses in your life at the moment. Like the colours come back into your life and you're ready to have that enjoyment. And this is when this person steps in, because they will sense that you're ready. It feels like this person will not show up until you are ready. Literally, you might already know them, but nothing can happen until you're ready for them. I don't think they would even show interest in you until energetically you are so ready that they can step in. Okay. So let's have a look at the Nature Speak Oracle cards. We have Summer, bring to fruition, yeah, and Prairie, move and adapt. Okay, yeah, it is. It's about reaping what you've sown. So energetically, there's this very intentional, progressive energy that comes in here, and it brings in the relationship that you want, the relationship that you asked for. And it comes in, I think, with everything that you want, because look at this beautiful bunch of tomatoes, absolutely gorgeous. It comes in with what you've been asking for. Okay, and this feels like somebody who wants to bend to your every whim, I want to say, with the prairie grass here on Move and Adapt. I want to say this person wants to bend over backwards for you. They want to do all of the things that you don't want to do, or they want to look after you. They want to take care of you. They want to run around after you. You know, they might even be a little bit codependent, but it does feel like this is kind of an opposite energy to yours, whereas yours feels quite stoic and sort of earthy. This could be an air sign, this could be a water sign, because they're very, very intuitive, they're very sensitive, very empathic energy coming in here. And it feels like this is just what you need. So this is a really lovely combination of energies, just looking at the oracle cards here. So let's bring in our angel card now. We have prayer. Oh, that's beautiful. Dear God, and this can be God, Goddess, it doesn't matter what you believe in. Help me always to remember that this present life is but a fleeting moment within eternity. Help me always to remember that this life is but a dream. Help me always to remember that you exist within everyone and everything. Help me always to remember that love is all there is and all else is an illusion. Thank you. Oh, that's beautiful. Love's all that's real, and that is the truth. Okay. And it really is. And I think this person is really going to help you to understand that on a higher spiritual level as well. This person really coming in to show you what love can be like and what love can look like. It's such a gorgeous connection. Feels very equal, very balanced, there's real equilibrium coming in here. It feels like you both really want to be in it for the long term, be in it for the right reasons here. So let's just have a look Let's bring in the Psychic Tarot now, see what else there is that we need to know about this relationship. Because it's a good start, looking really nice. You know, potentially this could be looking at, you know, we could be looking at a long-term relationship, a very, very powerful, significant relationship. This feels like one of the big ones in your lifetime. So that one wants to come out. We'll pop it down here. Sacral chakra. Aha. Okay, sacral chakra making its second appearance. I think that showed up for pile 1 as well. But I'm not feeling there's really much of a correlation between the two. I mean, if you feel drawn to pile 1 or pile 2, by all means, or pile 4, do feel free to watch the second one. But I'm not really feeling a connection myself to pile 1. So I don't think that's it. I think that's just a coincidence. Because coincidences do happen. So 21 universe. Wow. 1 base chakra. My cat is meowing. I don't know if you heard that. 5 conflict and defeat. 8 power. Oh, he's quite insistent. Yes, he is. 7 choose wisely. Okay, this is interesting because sometimes he shows up and meows outside my door, and there's always a reason for that. So I'm just going to go and sort him out. So it seems my cat's had enough of the day and he wanted to go to bed. So I'll put him in the bedroom. Okay. Right. Sometimes he likes to come in and step on the cards, but he wasn't up for that tonight, so he's gone to bed. So maybe that's the energy. Maybe it's putting some things to bed now and moving on. Right. So we have the universe, root chakra. So there's a lot of passion here. And again, I want to say earth sign, whether that's you or the other person. There's some earthy energy coming through here. There's a real passion. There's a real strength when you two get together as well. I feel like you're both quite strong characters, so you could clash. That could definitely be a thing because you're both quite strong-minded people, quite deliberate in the things that you want to do. Although the other person, it feels like they're more compliant, more wishing to please. But when they put their foot down, it's a no. And you get that with air signs. You know, we can be all kind of woolly and left, right and centre, but when we make our decision, boom, the hammer comes down and we won't be swayed. So, interesting connection, very physical, I want to say. There's a lot of physical affection, a lot of touch, you know, which is lovely. There's lots of public displays of affection, maybe, you know, if that's your thing. But I feel physically that's a big part of it. That's a very important part of it for both of you. I think that is a necessary part of the relationship. I do feel that. That won't be a case for everyone. Remember, it's a group reading, but I feel like that's quite an important theme here. And not necessarily just in the bedroom, but just like holding hands or just touching the other person, putting your hand on their shoulder, touching their hair, you know. Just being in physical contact seems important for both of you here. It just feels like it's a thing. Yeah, I want to go to Lionsgate again, 8/8 of August, or around the 8th of August, 2 weeks either side. There's something about that portal that connects to this energy, that connects to this, I was going to say communion. Could be a communion. There's definitely something to do with Lionsgate, so just bear that date in mind. See if it shows up for you, which it may do. Yeah, because it does feel like you're both quite choosy when it comes to partners, both quite selective when it comes to relationships, and that's a good thing. But it does feel like this could be a really wonderful relationship where you really can be all things to each other, which is really beautiful. Very, very beautiful connection. That's really what we like to see, actually. Very willing, both very willing to do the work, both very willing to be giving, both very willing to support and love the other person. That's exactly what you want to see, and that's a really beautiful energy. And that's not to say nothing ever goes wrong, because of course it does. I think you've both had some quite bad relationships in the past as well. And I think because of that, it feels like both of you have actually done the work. Done the work on yourselves, maybe the study to learn about relationships, to learn about how they work, about win-win arguments, maybe how to argue, you know, without falling out. It feels quite important, like that's something you could both do, or maybe you'd like to learn to do so that you don't have arguments that go sour. Okay, 3 fertility, 13 transformation, lovely. 8 trapped in fear, and 17 hope. Yeah, this relationship brings in a lot of transformation for you. I'd say it's more transformative for you than for the other person. It's like a new lease on life for you. But there are some fears from this other person that you may actually need to assuage. I feel like It feels almost like they didn't get their fairy tale. That's the words I want to use. They didn't get their fairy tale. So they may have had some expectations about what relationships should look like, and it just doesn't look like that in the real world. I think as well they could have a really nasty breakup that they've had in the past that they're still getting over in some respect. And this could be somebody they have children with as well. And I think that really changed them. And again, that could have been a codependent relationship. There could be a bit of codependency there. But this person, wow, had a big impact on them, and I don't think it was a good one. I think it was difficult, and it's like you bring the hope back into their life. So in some ways you kind of are the shining star for each other, you know, that leading star for each other, because you're both looking for that relationship. You're both looking for reassurance from the universe that the world is a loving and safe place, and I think you both provide that to each other. But at the same time, obviously, you're going to have your individual issues to deal with as well as working on the relationship, working on the couple, because nobody comes into a relationship with no baggage. Nobody comes into a relationship a blank slate. It's impossible. We're adults. You know, the only time you're a blank slate is pretty much at conception. And even then, you're carrying traits of two different parents. So are you even a blank slate then? I mean, you know, who knows? Maybe a brand new soul, but there are some new souls in the world. But you're not one of them. I don't think this person is either. So nobody comes in a blank slate. Everyone comes in with their stuff to deal with. And I think they're going to come in deeply wounded from a past relationship, possibly connected to children. And I'm getting lots of 8 cards now. 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. I want to go to August. I want to go to Lionsgate. So I'm just going to mention that again. Look out for August. There may be a connection, something important to do with the relationship for August, particularly the 8th of August, but also brings in this energy of exhaustion. 8 is about keeping going. It is about prosperity. It's about eternity. You turn number 8 on its side, it becomes the eternity symbol. There's no coincidence there. It does that. That's number 8. That's one of the esoteric meanings of the number 8 is endurance, is eternity, but it can come with real exhaustion. Too much 8 energy is exhausting. And it does feel like this person's issues could be exhausting for you as well. And I just want to raise that because it is a wonderful relationship in some ways, but it feels like their stuff, maybe their ex-partner, is causing major problems here. So I just want you to be aware of that. And I feel there could be children involved. So that is something to be aware of, something to be prepared for, so that you can have your guard up and make some very wise choices about how you live your life. You know, not moving in with, I would say don't move in with this person too soon. I would say think very carefully about this relationship. I think it can be wonderful, but I think the ex-partner may be getting in the way, which is not what we want to see. And that doesn't have to be, you know, fatal to the relationship. It doesn't have to be. It can be if we let it, but I think because of that, this person comes in very wounded, very deeply wounded, really struggling, like their life just hasn't been very happy for a number of years. But then you come in and they're like, oh wow, somebody who appreciates me, somebody who loves me, you know, after I feel like their ex might be a little bit narcissistic, you know, someone who really, or a user, abuser, maybe a gold digger or something, you know, it doesn't matter if they're male or female, but feels like they feel used, they feel taken advantage of, and that could have been a theme in their life. It could be something that they've had to deal with over and over again. You know, they could be codependent, they could have some issues there to work on to sort out, you know, and no shame in that. That's quite common, I would say. We all have our stuff to work on, nobody's perfect. Temptation 15. Okay, so we've got the devil coming in and the hanged man. Yeah, that could really put a mocker on things, put the mockers on. So I want to say the ex-partner could really slow things down, but not in a good way. It looks like for some of you, there's going to be an ex-partner who's literally going to try and break you up, who's literally going to be a thorn in their side, cause as many problems as possible. I feel for some of you that ex-partner may be quite seductive, so they may be literally trying to romance this person away from you again partway through. You know, once you get together, things start to go well, they think, hey, I don't want them to be happy with this other person, so I will seduce them and get them back running around after me again, and then this other person's out of the picture. So that could be a risk here. there is a risk of infidelity, there is a risk of an ex-partner stepping in to try and take them away from you when things are going well. And that is not very nice to see, but it is good to know about in advance so that you can be prepared and you can be clear on, how you will handle it if that happens. And I think that can really slow things down. I mean, this person may not actually succumb to temptation. They may say, no, I don't want to do that. They may, be more connected to you. They may be able to do that, but it will be difficult. It will certainly be a temptation. And because of that, they may actually pull away from you. And I think that could actually slow the relationship down just as it starts to really get going. And that's a shame, because this is a connection with a huge amount of potential, but I do see a potential for some serious problems here as well, at least for some of you. Remember, it's a group reading, so that won't necessarily happen for everybody, but there are some dark themes here which could be very, very challenging. All right, and this is a significant relationship, which means it's meaningful to you, which means, we get hurt when significant relationships don't work out. It can be very difficult, very painful. Yeah. And I think whether this person can actually resist the temptation is going to make a big difference, because I think if they do cheat, I don't think you're coming back. I think that'll be it. You're not the kind of person that tolerates that sort of behaviour. I think you'd be out. I think it would be all over for you if that were to happen. So it depends on the person as to whether they're likely to do that, I think. And if it does happen, I kind of want to say it won't be their fault. And I know that's wrong and it's not technically right, because it takes two to tango and we're adults and what have you. But it might be that they get them really, really drunk or something, or catch them off guard or something, or get them in a difficult situation. So it feels like it's not entirely their fault if that happens. So I just want you to just be aware of that. I'm not saying, oh, it's okay, you should let them off, because I don't agree with that either. But I feel like it wouldn't be entirely their fault if that were to happen. So it could be something that you could work through. And I know that usually you'd be like, no, that's it, I'm off. What's cheater, always cheater, I'm out. I don't think it'd be quite that clear cut in this case. So if that does actually happen, if they do succumb to temptation, I still feel it's something you could work through. I do, because they're not supposed to be with that person. They're supposed to be with you. All right, that's why they've come into this relationship. So for some of you, I mean, it could end at that point if you chose to walk away, if that did happen. But even if it did, you could actually work through it. I do see that potential, that positivity here. So definitely some obstacles to happiness, or some obstacles to the long term here. And I think that will be one of the challenges for you, because it feels like pile 3, like you're a very black and white person. You're very deliberate. It's like it's either on or off. It's either yes or no. And because of that, I think this is going to really challenge you in ways that perhaps you weren't expecting. Challenge you to think outside the box, to think about things in new ways, to look at things in new ways, to consider new angles and aspects of things. So it's definitely going to be a growing experience. Yeah. You will have to deal with things that you are not in control of. And that's going to be one of the most difficult things, because you might be a bit of a control freak. You might be, and some of us are. I can be a control freak, I get it. I hear you. But these are things that you're not in control of, that you're going to have to learn to accept. So there is a lesson to do with acceptance coming out of this whole relationship as well. But ultimately it will teach you balance. Ultimately it will teach you about compromise. It will teach you that not everything is white. Some things can be black. Sometimes it's not all light. There is shadow, there is darkness. So this is a relationship where you can learn about integration, learn about the shadow, learn about healing, about forgiveness as well, and about not always being in control, and that things can't always be perfect, but they can still be good. So there is a potential for long term here. But you will have some challenges to work through, and I want you to be aware of that. And I don't want you to dismiss this next relationship just because of that. I don't want you to say, oh, well, there's going to be challenges, so I'm not going to bother. Because if you run away from your lessons, the universe will just bring them back to you through another person, through another person, through another person. So you're better off working through them. It's not to say you have to stay with this person. They might have done something that you're not happy with, that is unacceptable, and that's fine. So let's just bring in some oracle cards here, some spirit messages. So are you aiming too low? Yeah. We are all unique and we are all one. Be still. Oops. You cannot raise others up by lowering yourself down. Yep. Oh my goodness, these cards are literally throwing themselves out at me. Okay, so Spirit really want to talk here. They really do. I feel like your angels really want to talk to you here as well. They need to have a big old conversation. So if you haven't meditated for a long time, you might want to meditate. You might want to pick up the phone to spirit, you know, to your spirit guides, to your higher aspects of self. So are you aiming too low? And I feel that could have been a problem in relationships. I think if some haven't worked out, I think it was literally, you may just have been aiming too low. You know, you may have settled for people who really weren't good enough for you, and that could again be a lesson for you here on 2810, because it feels like that has to change. That has to change, because otherwise, you know, you'll end up keeping on having to move on from relationships, because you get together with someone who isn't good enough for you, and then you realise, and then you move on, and then it happens again. Yeah, really important that you don't do that. And I think this person may help to teach you that lesson as well. Okay, I feel like this person is good enough for you, but you may perceive that to not be the case because of, you know, maybe some issues in the relationship, maybe some arguments, maybe even an ex getting in the way there. But I don't want you to think any less of them because of that. Because nobody is perfect, and also they are not their ex. Okay. They are not their ex. So we are all unique and we are all one. So yeah, I mean, there's a humanitarian energy that comes through here. I feel like this person really is loving. They really are caring. They are somebody that cares about the world at large. And I think that's something you have in common as well here. Definitely a need to meditate coming through on 18. And I do want to say, in this relationship, don't make any rash decisions. All right, because you may be tempted to do that. So you go, right, that's it. I'm cutting it off. This big sword here, like, yeah, I'm cutting you off. That's it. We're done. Okay. Try and be a little bit more nuanced, I want to say. You can't raise others up by lowering yourself down, coming in on 50. So again, it's that 50 energy coming through, very wise. And yeah, you really can't do that. Again, are you aiming too low? Are you lowering yourself down? Do not lower your standards. All right. So this is the difficult, might be quite difficult to, I'm struggling to explain this to get your head around, is that we don't lower our standards to the type of person that we go for. Okay. But at the same time, we accept that people can make mistakes and it doesn't make them any less. All right. If somebody makes a genuine mistake and genuinely tries to make up for it, and, you know, we are able to work on that and do that together, that's a real thing. Okay. It doesn't mean that that person was never good enough for you in the first place. I just want to bring that in. And I know that can sound counterintuitive, but many things can be worked through. Many problems can be fixed. Many things can be worked through. So, and sovereign being. Beautiful. I think I kind of want to apply this to both of you, both you and the other person. Like, you both know you are sovereign beings. And I think you both sense that. You're both quite adult when it comes to spirituality. You're both quite emotionally grown up. You're both quite spiritually mature. Yeah, and I think you both believe in freedom and freedom of choice, freedom of expression, and that's quite an important thing to have in common, because if you don't have that in common, that can be very, very challenging. So in many ways, this person's a really good match for you. Marriage and divorce, yeah, again, this could go long term. Okay. If you get married too quickly, it could end in divorce. So again, there's a little bit of caution coming in there on 29. 11-2, Venus Aphrodite. So it's a very passionate, very loving relationship. There is a real connection here. But there could also be some drama. Yeah, particularly if there's an X in the picture. High highs and low lows, 35-8. Again, it's more 8 energy. So this relationship could be exhausting if there's a lot of drama and it's not being handled in the right way. You may need to bring in a counsellor or someone, or mediator, to really help you through this one. Because it does have potential. It's very powerful, but drama. So it could be high, high, low, low, high, high, low, high, low. Yeah, it's not the easiest of connections, but it could be worth it. It's not the easiest of connections, but it could be worth it if you're prepared to put the work in. Yeah, and don't disconnect. Like I said, don't just cut them off. All right, that's one of the things I want to say. Don't just cut this person off emotionally. All right, psychic connection, work together for each other. Yeah. because I think you can achieve great things together. It's a very interesting blend of energies. I think you complement each other nicely. You have a psychic connection as well, which is very nice. I do feel like angels are going to be helping you here, because on the bottom of the deck we've got love angels. So it does feel like there is angelic support coming in, which explains why this little angel came in at the beginning. Because he just wanted to come in. I had to get him off my shelf up there and bring him in. Definitely angelic support coming in here for you on 43.7. So it comes in with mystical energy as well. And if you are somebody that works with angels or would like to work with angels, I encourage you to talk to them, ask them for help, because they will assist you with this relationship. They're going to be very invested in this relationship. There could be a connection to angels for both of you with this relationship. That might be something that you're both very interested in. You may both, work with angelic energies or what have you, or both work with angel cards or something. Whatever it is, it's a very interesting connection. It may or may not work out. It's hard to say. I think a lot of that will depend on you and on the choices the other person makes. But I want to say, don't make any rash decisions in this relationship, okay? Think it through carefully. Don't just cut them off without getting the full information or the picture. And do trust your intuition, not your mind, all right? Try not to rely too much on the mind in this situation. Allow your intuition to come in very gently and slowly and nudge you through this one, because it's a beautiful connection. It's a powerful connection. This person's definitely coming into your life for a reason, okay? Might be long-term, might not be long-term. Very, very hard to say, but either way, I think it will be worth it. It's a very important relationship. I think there's a lot that could be going on in this next relationship. But I don't think you will regret it. I really don't. Very, very interesting. You might have a bit of a fight on your hands, but I think it could be worth it. So again, it's always up to you. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, because that's not my place. I don't believe that would be right for me to tell you how to live your life. It's your life at the end of the day. It may also be a connection to Venus, Aphrodite, the goddess Aphrodite, goddess Venus there as well, that you might want to explore in your own spiritual practice. So I will leave you there, pile 3. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I want you to know how loved you are by the angelic realms, by the angels. Please do remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please leave a like if this was helpful for you. Please do comment as well. I do love to read your comments. Let me know if there's anything you would like me to make a video about that I have not. You take very, very good care of yourself, pile 3. I send you many angel blessings. Bye-bye. Hello, pile 4. You've chosen the pile of cards with the rose quartz crystal, and your pack of cards is the Fairy Tarot by Radley Valentine. So let's pop our crystal over there, our tarot cards over here, and let's take a look at your oracle cards. To start with, looking at your next significant relationship. So our animal oracle cards, we have number 20, Dolphin Spirit. This and that are true. We have 28, Frog Spirit, clear out the clutter. And we have number 3, Armadillo Spirit, set healthy boundaries. Interesting. Kind of got a bit of a back and forth energy on this one. And I think in my mind I'm going to pile 1 as well. There could be a connection with pile 1 for you, pile 4. So you may feel drawn to watch that one as well. Okay. So this is interesting because it feels like this next person actually shows up when one of you isn't free, one of you isn't actually single. So there could be a little bit of an overlap for one or even both of you when it comes to relationships here. And that in and of itself can make for a difficult start for things. So it may be a little bit of a difficult relationship to start with just because one or the other of you isn't quite disentangled from a previous relationship when you start out, or when you find each other, or when you actually want to start doing things, you know, seeing each other, going out, whatever it is, getting to know each other. So I think because of that, it's going to be very, very important to set some very clear ground rules on this relationship to start with. So it could just be that emotionally you haven't completely moved on from someone. You know, we're not talking about cheating necessarily to start a relationship. It does happen, but it's not a good foundation. But it feels like there's an entanglement still when this relationship starts, at least for one of you, if not for both of you. So I would say just to be aware of that, because emotionally you may not be quite there. You may still be emotionally entangled with someone, even if you're not physically in a relationship with them anymore. There's still some emotional entanglement there. Maybe some things to sort out. Maybe there's a divorce that's still being sorted out. Maybe there's issues with custody of children that still need to be sorted out right at the beginning. So that could add some complications, I think, right at the start of the relationship. But it does feel like that won't be an issue. Not a huge issue. It may cause some minor problems at the beginning, but I think as long as you have strong boundaries, you draw very clear lines about what's acceptable and what isn't, where one relationship ends and the other one begins, you know, about boundaries that you don't let an ex-partner cross, for example. I think that will be all right. But it does feel like at the beginning you're still kind of, could be you, could be the other person, because remember, this is a group reading. I feel it may well be you though, pile 4. You've still got a lot of old emotions to clear out. You're not sort of emotionally ready for the relationship when it shows up, or you might not feel ready for the relationship when it shows up. It may feel like it's just a bit too soon, that you weren't quite ready for it to show up yet, and boom, in it comes. The universe has brought this new significant relationship in for you. So it could feel like back-to-back relationships. But I want to say don't worry, because relationships show up for a reason. The universe does know what it's doing. And it's not doing it just to piss you off, you know, not just to be difficult. But there's a lot of emotion involved here. Emotions, I think, will run high at the beginning of the relationship, whether it's between you, the other person, an ex-partner, you know. There's a lot of emotion, a lot of emotional clutter, I want to say, to clear out. So it may actually be helpful to work with a counsellor at this time, at the beginning of the relationship, or whenever you feel like you need to do that. Yeah, just so that you can be very clear on what's happening, not letting other people, maybe an ex, run roughshod over you when you're actually trying to move on, trying to live in your own space and do your own thing. So let's bring in the Quantum Oracle. We have family, friends and guides on number 6, spirit. We have happy success on 8, consciousness, and we have loss on 2. Yeah. So it's almost like contradictory cards here with happy success and loss. So it's almost like the two things happening at the same time. So like the loss of one relationship and gaining another. So there's so much emotion here. It's so difficult. And this could be either you or the other person, or even both of you. Like losing one person and gaining another one almost immediately. So that can be a very confusing dynamic to work through. There's a lot of emotions to work through, I want to say, at the beginning of this relationship. You will need your family and friends. You'll need your spirit guides to help you get through this one, just because there's so much going on. It might feel as though your feet don't touch the ground. It might feel very difficult to focus on work. At the beginning of this relationship, it may be very difficult to live your life and do all the things you're supposed to be doing, just because you've got so much going on emotionally. Your heart's got so much going on, trying to deal with the loss of one relationship, this new exciting new relationship. And it does feel like an exciting new relationship. It feels like it comes in, swoops in with great speed, almost too soon, almost like before you're ready for it. And it brings in great change and transformation as well. 28, we've also got 2 and 8, which I don't think is coincidental, so there's a connection to 28. So you may be going through your Saturn return, which happens around age 28, I believe, 28, 29. One or either of you may be going through your Saturn return when this happens, and I think there's another Saturn return 28 years after than that. So yeah, there may be something interesting going on with Saturn in your chart, in your astrological chart. So again, that may be something to look at, that may be something to consider there. It could maybe give you some extra clues as to what's going on here, what to expect. Wow, the ups and downs. Wow, it's a lot. But at the same person, this brings in new hope. This person brings in so much hope for you, so much positivity. And again, you may still have your guard up. You may still have a lot of shields up when they show up. So you may not feel totally ready to open up to another person yet, because you're still very raw from this other relationship. And yet, I feel like it would be very, very difficult to resist them. So let's bring in the Nature Speak Oracle. We have Gardenia, emotional protection. Yeah, very guarded. Either your heart or the other person's heart is very, very guarded in this situation. And Hot Spring, return to the sacred. Okay. So I want to say with this relationship, it comes in because there is an ancient soul contract between you. This person shows up because they are supposed to. It feels very fated. It feels very much like they're supposed to show up at this point in time. It's not an accident. Although the timing may feel really awkward, uncomfortable at the beginning, like it's just too soon, you're not ready, it's not the right moment. They're coming in because there's a soul contract here. I feel very strongly that they are coming in with the soulmate connection to help and support you, to teach you something. And I think it's a supportive energy that they actually come in with here as well. Because look at the purity of this flower here, this gardenia, this white gardenia, comes in with emotional protection. And yes, you are guarded at this point. I think it's you that's going to be emotionally guarded, your heart very guarded at this time. But I think they may actually come in to protect you. So if you're going through a difficult breakup, they may actually come in to be your protector, to help and support you during this difficult time. Because there's a real purity of intention that comes through here. It does feel like this person's showing up for the right reasons in your life. They're not showing up just to have a fling. They're not showing up, you know, just because they're interested or bored. They're coming in for the right reasons. Certainly coming in with good, positive intentions, meaning to help you, meaning to actually do the right thing, meaning to lift you up, meaning for you to have a good experience, to be happier by them actually showing up in your life. So let's bring in our little angel card here. Creativity. We, your angelic messengers, are here to help unleash the endless creative potential that you possess. Interesting. Listen to the whispers of love inside your heart as we communicate with you through feeling and emotion. Let go of fear and apprehension and express the endless source of creativity you possess. Have fun and allow the inner child within you to express your true essence. All is valid. Kind of just want to focus on that last line. All is valid. You are valid. Your choices are valid. Your identity is valid. You as a person, you are loved. You are valid. Your creativity is valid. Wow. It's like this connection brings so much to the fore that maybe you thought you weren't allowed to do. It allows you to explore aspects of yourself. This person comes in to bring you freedom. Okay, you might have thought ending this previous relationship was going to bring you freedom, or maybe the other person ended it and you thought, well, maybe I'll have some freedom now. But actually they're coming in to facilitate freedom for you, to facilitate change. This feels like a facilitator relationship. So I feel this is a soulmate coming in to actually help you make changes in your life. Now, this sort of relationship doesn't necessarily last very long. It can do, but it may not be a particularly long relationship, but that's okay. All right. Significant relationships, powerful, meaningful relationships do not have to be long term. They come in and they give us what we need and then they leave or they end. Okay, so I feel like this may not be a long term relationship. It will be for some of you. It will be for some of you. But I think for others, it will not be long term, but that will be okay. It may only literally be like 3 months long. Okay, but that's okay. It's all right. It's the right person showing up at the right time just to help you through this phase in your life. So let's bring in some of the fairy tarot cards now, just to get a little bit more information about this connection. See what we need to know about this person, what we can glean about the energies here and what's likely to happen. Okay, do remember this is a group reading, so take what resonates for you and leave what does not. Number 2, High Priestess. Number 5, Unity. That's also the High Priest. Number 4, Emperor. Number 18, the Moon. We're getting all major arcana so far. This is quite big energy coming in here. Okay. 2 of Winter. Oops. There we go. Wow. Ace of Spring. 6 of Summer. The Lovers. 3 of Winter. And the Empress. That's a lot of major arcana. Some very, very big themes coming in with this relationship. So it does feel very much like there are some very big, very important themes in your life going on when this person actually shows up in your life. It feels like they're here to help with some major, major transformations going on with your life. Some very big stuff to really help you move forwards in many different aspects of your life. And I think you with theirs as well. I think they come in to give you some bravery, give you a boost of self-confidence, maybe when you're at a low ebb. It does feel like that sort of person, that sort of relationship coming in here. And they come in with a pure love connection. It's a very beautiful love connection. I feel like they may be somebody who was already interested in you, but maybe you didn't know. Or maybe they've been keeping it quiet, or maybe you did know and you just couldn't do anything about it. and then all of a sudden they decide, right, that's it, this is moving forwards, this is happening. So it kind of happens a bit sooner than you were hoping, sooner than scheduled, but that's no bad thing. But it can certainly cause indecision. There are some decisions to make at the beginning. You may still be deciding between a previous partner and this person, so there may still be a choice right at the beginning of the relationship there. But it does feel like on a soul level you've known each other for a long time. You may actually know this person through your church, through religion, through spirituality, spiritual pursuits, through your yoga class, something like that, because there's definitely a powerful spiritual connection, because we've got the high priest and the high priestess next to each other here. So it feels like spiritually you're kind of on a par with each other, which makes you a good match energetically and spiritually. Not necessarily such a great match in the real world when it comes to actually having a relationship. But it is a meeting of minds. It is a very powerful meeting of minds as well. It's a very, very interesting connection, but there's a lot you don't know about this person, even if you thought you already did know them. There's a lot you don't actually know about this person, but equally I feel like there's a lot that you're hiding from them as well. So maybe that's why you're holding the boundaries. You're really playing your cards close to your chest. I want to say they may be doing the same thing. I mean, they may be fresh out of a relationship themselves. It's almost like you're kind of nervously stepping towards each other. You're not quite sure what you're doing here. It feels like you're quite evenly matched, I would say. Not that it's a fight, not that it's a battle, but in some ways you're kind of in very similar situations when you actually get together, when you do meet, when you decide that you want to pursue a relationship. And there is a genuine connection there. But it's not the easiest of situations that you find yourself in at the beginning, that's for sure. But something I do want to say about this relationship, it does feel like you're both stepping in to actually help each other to heal from the last relationship, because it might be almost like a rebound relationship in some ways, so like a short-term thing that's very intense but quite short-lived after a longer relationship. But this actually may have more meaning. Energetically, emotionally, there may be more to this relationship than the one that came before it, maybe of equal importance, because this is a significant relationship that we're looking at here. It's not just a fling, even if it's short term, which I think it could well be for a lot of you. This is an important one. This is a powerful one. You may even get married, even if it's just a short amount of time. There could even be a marriage connection there, I feel. Very interesting, because we do have the Emperor, but the Empress is over here. She's not right next to him. But I think there could be some idealization of each other at first. It's almost like you idealize the other person. Oh, it's exactly my person. That's exactly who I want. They're perfect. There's nothing wrong with them. Whereas my ex was a bastard, or, or whatever. But there could be some idealization. You may not be seeing each other clearly because the moon is kind of between you here. And because you're sort of comforting each other, helping each other to get through some difficult times, I feel. There may be a tendency to overlook any darkness, to overlook any problems, and sort of try and pretend there aren't any, and be a little bit too idealistic in this situation. So there is that to be aware of, just to take into account. Okay, it's not necessarily fatal to the relationship. I think this could work out on the longer term. Let's just ask, see if there's any long-term potential here. I mean, certainly in the shorter term, it will seem you might be absolutely besotted with each other, but only for a short amount of time. You might fall very quickly in and very quickly out of love again. So let's just take a look here. Okay. Dreamer, yeah. 8 of Spring, there's that speed. Okay. 3 of Autumn. Queen of Winter. Yeah. It almost feels like they come in, there's a very idealistic energy at the beginning of the relationship. There's a lot of speed, and this is what I was saying about, this is kind of a multitasking card here. It's like you've got too many balls in the air trying to do too much, and just this person coming in kind of makes you feel a bit better, even if it was a bit too soon. Yeah, it does feel like a supportive energy, but ultimately I feel you may end up going in separate directions. You may end up not actually staying together at the end of it. Although you may actually work together, there may be a connection there. You may know each other, you may work together, but I don't think that will be a problem. It's a curious connection. I'm actually having trouble finding the words to describe it. So maybe that's the thing. Maybe you don't talk enough. Maybe communication is actually blocked for you two. Maybe you spend too much time just complaining about your exes when you're together. That could certainly happen in rebound relationships. Or maybe you don't listen enough to one another for it to become a solid relationship. Maybe you're just too busy trying to keep all your balls in the air while you enjoy the other person's company. But it does almost feel like somebody coming to join you on your path, somebody coming to walk along the path with you while you go through a difficult time. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to stay forever or stay for a particularly long time. So let's see what else we've got. What else do we need to know about this person? All right. So Princess of Winter, 8 of Winter, 10 of Winter. Yeah, it's interesting. I do feel like this person kind of helps you through a difficult patch, but I'm having trouble seeing the longevity here. I don't really see it. Maybe because you both entered into this relationship with a bit of a naive energy. I feel like it happened a little bit too soon after a previous relationship, or maybe you weren't healed from a previous relationship, or one or the other of you, maybe both. Yeah, it feels like you come together. This could be like a rebound, like you come together to support each other through a difficult time, but I don't see longevity for most of you. That's not to say there won't be. All right, for some of you, this can turn into a long-term relationship. But I think in order for it to do so, you need to keep your feet on the ground and be very clear about who the other person is, because you may have really put them up on a pedestal, really idealised them, thinking, wow, they're perfect, they're everything I've always wanted, oh yeah, this is wonderful, you know. And then reality sets in very quickly and you think, actually, no, this isn't right at all. I don't want to be with this person. They're not who I thought they were. Maybe we should move on. So there is that energy there as well. But they come in at the right time. They provide a lot of support. I think they help you to believe in yourself again. They help to bring balance back to your life, back to the universe. I think you bring balance back to each other, I would say. I think you would still be friends even afterwards. This may just turn out to be a friendship. I think you would still stay in contact because I don't see any hard feelings here. I feel this relationship could ultimately turn into a friendship, a supportive friendship for the future. For some people, it will be a long-term relationship, of course, because this is a group reading. But there may be some time apart. You may actually split up and then get back together again. So it may not be the first go where it's successful. But I think regardless, I think this is somebody who would be a friend for you on the longer term, that you will be quite close, because this is a soulmate connection. So let's just bring in some spirit messages here. I've got some oracle cards. This one wants to come out. You are loved. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, I think no matter what, this person will care about you. I think there's a lot of mutual feeling here, no matter what happens in the relationship. So 37, 10, 1. So again, that's quite a transformative energy. It's kind of the Wheel of Fortune energy. Where it stops, nobody knows. Yeah, so it could be on, then off, then on again, maybe. Love is always around you, always. Yeah, it's like they come in kind of to remind you at a very low ebb that you are loved, that you're okay. Everybody's teaching you something about yourself. Yeah, it does feel like a teaching, learning relationship rather than perhaps a long-term one. So, what else? Rainbow light becomes white. Yes, beautiful. Everything goes back to where it's from. Star being starseed. Oh, there we go. And what brings you happiness and joy? Yeah. Beautiful. I love these cards. Okay, very loving messages coming through from the higher realms connected to this relationship. It really feels like this is going to be Mr. or Miss right place, right time. Not necessarily right forever, but right now. Right now for when they come in. I think they will help you to remember what it is that you want, what makes you happy. They will help you to remember that you are loved. And I think there's a connection here with being a starseed. I think one or both of you perhaps have this starseed energy. So maybe you don't feel like you belong in the world. And so you just come together and you kind of recognize that energy and go, oh, you're like me. You don't belong in this world either. Wow. And there's kind of a clinging energy, maybe clinging to each other a little bit, you know, supporting each other in that respect. But rainbow light becomes white reminds us that we're all one, even if we're different. But again, it comes in on 10. It's about change. So there's a lot of change within the relationship. Like I said, it could be that you get together, then you have some time apart, then you get together again, you know, and then at that point I think it could be a long-term relationship. But I think regardless, you would stay friends, even if it turned out to be short-term. There's a real genuine connection here of kindness and of love here. So I don't think it would be a relationship that you would regret. I don't see any reason to say, no, don't do it, don't get into it. Not that it would be my place to do that anyway, because it's not my life. It's your life, it's your relationship. You know yourself and you know what you want to choose. So let's bring in, oh, here we go, soulmate, soul contract. These are my romance oracle cards, marriage and divorce. Yeah, there's definitely a connection with either a divorce or a big relationship ending when this person shows up for one or the other of you. So, grumble, grumble, passive aggressive. Ah, yes. Love Addicts Anonymous. Self-sovereignty. Oh, that's interesting. A second self-sovereignty card we've had come out today. Remember who you are. Again, this kind of ties in with the starseed star being. I feel like you're both trailblazers for the age of Aquarius. And again, that's something that you have in common. Another reason that you may feel very drawn to each other, even if you're quite different, even if you're not a particularly good match in other respects. You have this in common that you're both very spiritual people. You have a lot in common in some ways, but not in the regular ways, if that makes sense. On a spiritual level, you've got so much in common. Soulmate, soul contract. So yeah, this is a soulmate connection. Like I was saying earlier, this person comes in to help you build your next steps in life. There is a soul contract. This is why they're showing up right now. And that soul contract may or may not be for the long term. Okay, or you may have a choice there if it's going to be for the long term. I do feel there is a connection to marriage and divorce, so it might be that one of you is getting divorced or being separated when you get together. Or it could be that this is actually a soulmate contract where you do have a contract to get married, and so you do actually get married to this person. But I feel there could be a breakup and a separation first before you get to that point. That's just my feeling. I do want to say at first, because you're kind of idealising each other, there's not proper arguing going on, so you may be stuffing down any negative feelings, just trying desperately to focus on the positives. So do be careful of being passive-aggressive, because that would be very unhelpful. There could also be a bit of codependency coming up here, just being flagged up. Yeah, and again, that could be a reason why you need some time apart. If you want to make this a long-term relationship, I feel you might need some time apart to work on yourselves. One or the other of you may have some codependent tendencies you need to work on, might be a little bit too needy, might, have some trauma, some past hurt to work on there, which is completely understandable. No shade here. We all have stuff we need to work on, absolutely, I feel. But if there is that break where you decide to become friends again and you do the work on yourself and then it starts up again, I think at that point, then you would have a really good chance for a much longer term relationship with this person, as long as you have both done that work to move on. Because it does feel like it shows up a little bit too soon, otherwise a little bit too quickly. So you might end up at stage 5 when you haven't done 1 through 4 yet. Okay, or you may end up having a child really quickly together and you kind of weren't ready for the relationship to be at that point. So you may have to kind of go back and rework steps 1 to 4 before you actually get there. But that is doable. It absolutely is doable. And on many levels, you are very compatible, although you're quite different people. But just be very cautious that you're not idealising the other person. So it's a very interesting blend of energy, pile 4. Very interesting blend indeed. This isn't a particularly long reading for some reason, but there's obviously a reason for that. Okay, so I will thank you very much for joining me and for watching this video. Please do remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please do leave me a like if this was helpful for you. Leave a comment if there's something you would like to share with us, or if there is a video that you would like me to make that I haven't already done. So you take very, very good care of yourself. Remember, if you're drawn to any of the other readings, 1 through 3, you can of course watch one of those as well, but don't do it just to try and get a different answer. Okay, let's be realistic. Let's be fair to ourselves here. It's an interesting blend of energies. Interesting. Could work. You take very, very good care of yourself, Pile 4. I send you lots of love. Thank you. Bye-bye.